What's good, chat? What's going on, everybody, man? Hopefully, everybody can hear me well. Hopefully, everybody's having a good evening. Shout out to everybody that comes through tonight on the podcast. You know how it goes. We don't talk to you guys until, possibly a little bit here and there. Appreciate everybody that comes through. Say hi to Tonk. He's going to be a little special guest. Hopefully, you like the new setup and where it's at. And with that, man, we're going to get right into it. We're going to introduce the boys, obviously. We've got Travy and Brandon, so let's go ahead on and get right into it. What's good, boys? How y'all doing?
Good. How you?
Sure, I'm good. Travy, introduce yourself. Say what's up to the chat. Say what's up to the pod.
All right. What's good? First of all, appreciate you inviting me to the pod. Travy, Travy G, Trav, whatever you want to call me. But pretty much I stream too. I do just chatting. I do gaming, fitness streams. But into sports. I do sports articles, esports articles, things like that too. So should be fun chopping it up with the fellas about what we got planned for today. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I don't want to give away too.
Looking forward to it. Conversation and the debates will be good. And next we got my boy B Dog. I've known him since high school. We're not that close until high school. He's a full time dad now, and he was a streamer. I don't know if he's ever gonna get back into it. Maybe we'll talk him back into it one of these days. Brian, you can go ahead and give yourself an intro, man.
What's up? I'm Krypt, full-time dad. I was a streamer. I had to kind of slow down, having a 6-month-old running around. Kind of takes a little bit of time from you, but still play a lot, into sports, like having fun time with the boys. I'm excited for this conversation. I think we're gonna have some hot takes, maybe
Yes,
a
we are.
couple friendly arguments.
Yeah, we won't get too heated on here. We can't go too into depth with it. Well, off the rip, we're gonna start out with talking about the draft and going through the first round. Um, the first round for me,
Man.
it was a lot different than I intended. When I came out with my top 10 picks, I didn't have a quarterback being picked, I believe, until fourth, which my entire 10 picks were just absolutely wrong. Uh, I feel like the draft, every team got what they wanted, except there was a couple of teams that didn't make like really good decisions, in my opinion. Um, More or less, they weren't like bad decisions, but they were like scratch your head decisions. Like, why did you draft that? You know, Altogether, I think my my favorite pick of this entire draft was probably 8, which I didn't think Bijan Robinson was going to go to the Falcons. I really didn't. I didn't think that at all. I
Of
did
the
not.
whole draft?
Not the whole draft. Not the whole draft. Sorry, the first round. I apologize. Sorry. The first round it was Bijan Robinson because I didn't think Bijan Robinson was going to go at 8. I personally thought he was going to go 10 to the Eagles, but the Eagles traded up to get Jalen Carter at 9. They went up with the Bears, which was weird, I guess. But what did you guys think of the first round? Do you think it every team got what they wanted, or do you think teams kind of went in a different way with certain picks?
You go ahead.
All right. I like the Bijan Robinson pick too. I ain't gonna lie. Not for nothing. I think that backfield is gonna be underrated with him, Tyler, and Cordell. But the line is like, so I don't know how they gonna do with it. I just gotta ask like the other teams why they letting the Eagles get better on defense. I don't understand this. Like they just had like a crazy ass defense last season. So,
I don't, I
but
don't, I don't understand how the Eagles can just continuously
yo, it's
hit,
like it
bro.
don't make no sense.
It
But
makes no
yeah, I
sense.
think I think they got like the biggest steal, not for nothing, the Eagles. And then no bias. I'm glad like the Pats actually went for a corner because I actually told like Levi so many times like Jalen Mills was just horrible, respectfully. But
Oh,
I'm just tired of dealing with him. But
I,
glad
I
to
don't,
see that he got replaced.
I don't think I can stress enough how many times I heard Travy complain about this guy Mills, man. Every time in Discord we'd be watching football, and this guy would just be just frying Mills every chance he could.
Good.
I mean, he's not that great of a cornerback. I don't, and you guys paid him like not crazy money. I think it was was it like
Yeah,
20, 30, wasn't it? Like
nothing
20.
too crazy,
Yeah, it
and
wasn't too crazy.
not long term at all. So we're gonna see what happens.
Can't be mad about that. Brandon, what did you think about it? About the
I
draft?
did not think that Robinson should have went that high up, and maybe it's because I'm a salty Chiefs fan. We drafted a running back in the first round. Uh, it didn't work out at all, in my opinion. But I'm not a big fan of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Sorry if you're watching, but it happens, my man. Um, Mine was actually CJ Shroud.
Really?
Stroud. Yeah, I was
Did you
actually.
have him? Did you have him going first?
I did think that he was going to go above Bryce Young.
He
He's
was the
played
first
well.
in my top in that top 10 pick that I did. He was the first quarterback off the board for me. I thought C.J. Stroud was going to be the first one off
I think some of it is maybe the program that he came from at Alabama. I mean,
Ohio State. Oh no, was it okay? No, C.J. Stroud's
Bryce
Ohio State.
Young came from.
Yeah. You're right. Ohio State.
Okay,
I don't
I
know
was
about to
talking
find
about why Bryce Young
gotcha.
went higher. I think it was because of Alabama, because he had that program.
See, but to me, like the only good quarterback that Alabama's produced in the last couple of years is Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts wasn't even on the team after because he didn't go to the draft after he left Alabama. He went to
Mhm.
Oklahoma and tore it up.
Yeah,
So I, that if he pans out, it'll be the first Alabama quarterback that I've seen pan out and do well. I mean, AJ McCarron a couple years ago, like won a couple games, but he wasn't great. You know
This
what I
guy
mean?
did nothing
So
in the league.
I think he's in the XFL now. He's actually tearing it up in the XFL, if I'm not mistaken.
But
Um,
does the Stroud pick not worry y'all? Because like, I mean, you're not Texas fans, but like as far as like the line goes, because I feel like
I think that from my standpoint of it, like I thought C.J. Stroud was the best quarterback in the class. I
yeah, that makes sense.
I think he's the best quarterback in the class. I think Bryce Young is. I know he's short. He's not the tallest quarterback in the world, but he's got athletic ability, so that helps. It's more or less. I like the way C.J. Stroud plays a little bit more. I know his numbers aren't nearly as good as Bryce Young's, but I
they're
like.
better.
Hmm.
Oh, they're better than his.
Yeah,
Oh, sweet. Okay.
you've got Bryce Young sitting at 5'10", and then I think he had like 36 games, and he had a 65.8% completion percentage, whereas in you had CJ played 27 and he had 69.3.
Cause he was a junior when
So
when he came out, right? When he declared, was CJ
yeah,
a junior?
I believe so. I
And
could be speaking though,
okay,
but he also had 5 more touchdowns than Bryce Young had.
yeah, I personally I thought I personally thought CJ Stroud was the best passer in the draft, in my opinion. I feel like he can sling a ball. It's on point most of the time, but he can his arm strength is needs to be worked on, but he's accurate with the ball, so I can deal with that personally. I know a lot of teams like don't really they don't want to settle for that, but they will. I think the Texans picked well. Now I think their defense will be a lot better, a lot quicker than the offense. I think Will Anderson was the best defensive player in the draft because now they have the guy on offense to build from, hopefully, and then they have the guy on defense who I think is going to be one of the better linebackers within like the next 2 years, and Will Anderson Jr. Um,
I
so
also I
go ahead.
also like that pick for the simple fact of the Texans know that they need to address that situation. So
I
with the
agree.
amount of picks that they had in the draft, they went ahead and just did that early. They got a stud. They could have been like the Vikings and
It's true.
got what was his name?
Justin Jefferson.
Oh, that ain't a quarterback.
Oh, Kirk Cousins. Sorry.
Um, I think it was like Jaron Hall. I want to say was his name, and I
Was
think
he drafted a couple years ago?
no, this was this year.
Oh, it was this year. Vikings. Here, I'll look while you're trying to remember.
Well, the last season, I don't know if he came out as a junior or senior. I'm not 100% sure, but 12 games in a season, 12 picks,
Holy shit.
and so the Vikings went out and got that wide receiver, and then they've got Justin Jefferson also, and then they're just gonna put him with Kirk Cousins again.
Yeah, so I think they're gonna run with Kirk Cousins like one more time, because I think
That's what I'm thinking too.
he'll finish out his contract. Regardless of anything, he's gonna his money's fully guaranteed. So even if they release him, they still have to pay him. I think they give him another year, and if it doesn't work out, which I personally think the Vikings last year were a fluke, and it was obvious in the playoffs. I mean, they did not play well. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. I'm not a fan of Kirk Cousins. I think he's mid. He wins you games, but if it's on a Monday
Not
night,
playoff.
if it's on Monday night football or Thursday night football or Sunday night football, you're losing it. You're just gonna lose it every time.
Is he better than your boy Alex Smith though?
Ooh.
Nope.
I wouldn't say he's better. I'd say they're more neck and neck, but I think Alex
Yeah, I
has
got
a
you.
higher just above him just a little bit because Alex can get out of the pocket and give me like at least like 3 or 4. You know what I'm saying?
I
Yeah.
Kirk
feel
Cousins doesn't want to do that.
Alex Smith has a better football IQ, I believe.
Yeah, I
He
agree
did
with that.
he did manage a lot of games. We had to see it for like 3 years. I think the Colts game was probably the biggest
We
heartbreak I
got
ever watched.
Oh my gosh.
we got to see it.
It was fun times, fun times. I guess we'll talk about now our team's picks. So me and Brandon, obviously Chiefs fans.
Uh-huh.
Travy is a Pats fan. Uh, the pick that I liked the most out of the entire draft for me was Rice out of SMU. This is the first time I've seen the Chiefs draft a jump ball receiver since Dwayne Bowe, and Dwayne Bowe, was good for like a couple of years, and after that, after we gave him like $60 million, he decided to pan out in the distance, whatever.
Hey, he's a rapper now, dog.
Yeah, he's. I don't listen to his music. I follow him on Instagram, but I don't listen to his music. It's not terrible.
Isn't it like? Isn't his name like Lil Mooney or something?
It's like Money B or something like that. So Lil Mooney was Travarius Ward. That's what his handle is on Instagram.
That's right. That's right.
But my favorite pick was Rice. It's like I said, it's the first time we drafted a jump ball wide receiver in a long time. He doesn't have like really great speed, but he's long, so he gets down the field in a decent amount of time. But I think the Chiefs drafting a jump ball wide receiver, I think he's 6'1", 6'1", 204, so he could put some weight on, but he's not terrible. He got great hands, and I think him not having the elite second year doesn't ruin anything for me because we have pretty speedy guys outside of Rice already, so they want Rasheed Rice to step into Juju's um,
Oh,
basic
so we're
role.
gonna try and kill him in the middle of the field.
I I
Nice.
I hope not. I hope not. Because if they drafted him in the second round, from all I'm suggesting, if they want him to play the Juju Smith role, if they want him to actually play like the whole role, I don't want that. But if he wants to be the number one, I'm cool with that. I Kadarius Toney at one's okay, but like he gets hurt, we don't know what
Yeah, I was
Kadarius
about
Toney's
to say that. You
Kadarius Toney's
sure you
gonna
want
do.
him as number one?
I don't want him as a number one. I'm
Oh,
okay with it if he's
all right,
healthy.
got you.
Because if Kadarius Toney plays well, healthy, it's good football. But
Right.
I don't want him as my one. Like not going
He'll do
forward. I
them
don't want him.
squats.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't want him as my one going forward for too long. Well, Travis basically is the one, but outside of that, we need an actual one wide receiver. So,
Right.
Travy, what do you think about what was either? It could be whatever round or what pick was your favorite. What did you think about the pick?
Besides Christian Gonzalez, which I liked a lot, mostly because like everybody else is stacking their offense, especially now that the Pats got to deal with a God twice a year now, and with like people from the Packers. So I'm glad that the Pats did like their usual stuff. They go like defense or they go for the line, which I
Did y'all
trust Bill to
draft
do.
a kicker?
Huh?
Did y'all draft a
Yeah,
kicker?
yeah, a kicker and a punter, actually. Yeah, pretty good kicker and punter. So you have
Bill.
Bryce Behringer, cause Nick Folk is like ugh times. But it's like I don't know though, cause what I'm worried about, like the Pats still don't have like that number one wide receiver. Feel me? It's like they got Gesicki, which wasn't like that bad, but he's obviously not gonna be on the outside. He's gonna be like
He'll be inside.
secondary to
Yeah,
Hunter. Yeah,
yeah.
but I think Christian's like overall the best pick, but then other than that, like they picked up some linemen like City South that should help the line a lot. And I, well, Levi knows like I don't really believe in Mac respectfully, but then I don't know. We'll see what happens this season. This is his last chance though. I ain't gonna lie.
Nah, I don't think if Mac plays really bad this year, I think he's gone.
Yeah,
And I don't think he'll. I don't think he could start somewhere else, but it'll be for like the Commanders, or it'll be for somebody that's
yeah,
really desperate and doesn't really know what they're doing. So,
You can play
yeah,
for a team where it's acceptable to tackle people on the sideline and shit.
yeah. Nah, yeah. I don't condone for that. The wild shit he was doing. Yeah, he was doing some wild shit, but. I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Pats. I just don't want him starting them, but we'll see what happens.
that's fair. That's fair. Brandon, what about you? What was your favorite pick?
Before I do mine, how do you feel about Juju?
Ooh.
Are you excited?
Juju is like I don't not for nothing as bad as this may sound. I feel like it's kind of a downgrade from what Jacoby did because Jacoby like was able to do a lot more. He was like way more dynamic. He can play like quarterback in certain plays if needed. But the Pats ain't paid too much for him,
I was
so
gonna say he took
we'll
a
see what
pretty
happens. Yeah.
friendly deal.
But I don't trust him as a number one. I feel like not for nothing. I feel like AB made like Juju a little bit more like in the past, so it's like we'll see. I don't
I
know if
I personally didn't think Juju was one. I think he's like he
yeah,
can be in a
he's like a
situation,
two.
but he's like the one of the better two wide receivers in the league.
Yeah,
You
no
I
have
for
to
think
sure.
you'd have to pair him with
he's
somebody.
one of the best slot wide receivers in the entire league.
That's a
Hmm.
fact.
I don't know. We'll see what happens though.
Who was your favorite pick? That the Chiefs drafted.
I'm not even gonna try and say his last name, but
The
Felix,
DN.
Felix, I was about to
first
ask for that too.
round.
Yeah, it's Felix at a new DK Uzama, something like that.
Uzum, yeah,
Uzoma,
Uzuma,
Uzama,
Uzuma.
What
I was
you
actually about
guys
to ask
said.
He said what you guys said.
But no, that was one of my favorite picks for the Chiefs because I always feel like every season, like we sit here and we're like, oh, we didn't really address what we actually needed to address, but we got lucky. Like these people end up being stars, halfway through the season. I think we knew we didn't have Frank Clark anymore, and we got a replacement for it. And I might be a little biased because his hometown's like 20 minutes from mine. So
He did. I think
that's
he watched the draft at home, didn't he? Was he at the draft or was he at home? I
I,
can't. I can't remember.
Where did you have that info?
Well, the thing is like I've
Saying
seen.
like because you met some players and stuff.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like I've seen a picture with him at the draft, but I don't think it was the day of the day, like the day he got
Got you.
picked. I think he was at home.
I don't think it was
Yeah,
either.
I think he was in 20 minutes away from where we stay. I think he was at home, which
Good.
is insane, insane.
Mm.
Well, if you think about it, so he went to Lee Summit High School.
Yep.
He played at K State, and then gets drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's
That was his first ever game, professional football game that he watched in his entire life. That's pretty.
it's cool
That's
as hell. Yeah, like you get to play for your home team. Like you
Yeah,
never
that's
like
always a W.
oh yeah, it's always fun. And
I just go ahead. Sorry.
he's the draft pick's really great. I think he's gonna do really well. I think for some reason the way he's built, I feel like he's gonna have some crazy ass bull rushes. Like I feel like he's gonna do really well bull rushing. He's a big ass dude. He had 19 and a half
6'3",
sacks.
255.
Yeah, yeah, it's nuts. And I can't remember what he ran. He ran a pretty fast 42 if I'm not mistaken. So he's quick. I think he was a top 5 D end in the draft. So I'm glad that we got somebody on the defensive end to replace Frank Clark. I know Frank Clark wasn't always there. He didn't show up on the
Playoffs,
stats a
yeah.
lot.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But the thing is about like Frank Clark, you can say like he didn't show up on the stats a lot, but he made plays when he needed to. Even as frustrating as it was to watch sometimes him not get to the pass rusher, we're paying this guy a lot of money, so that was a little frustrating at times. But I think they did a good job as well replacing Frank Clark, and then the guy that we signed, Charles Omanahu, something like I can't remember. I cannot say his last name. I'm botching his last name so much. He's
Mhm.
from San Francisco. He was going to be a rotational guy. If you go watch his tape, I think our defense I think our D line's going to take a pretty decent step up this year, and we'll be able to get to the quarterback just a little bit more. We did really well last year with it, but I think we're going to do just a little bit more.
Well, that Felix guy, he didn't play much his freshman year like at all, and then he turned around his junior, or his sophomore, junior, and senior year. He ended up getting like 68 solo tackles.
Yeah, he
He
had
had like
he had
19
19
and
and
a
a
half
half sacks.
sacks
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's
then 8
crazy.
forced fumbles. I mean, that just shows like progression. And whenever you're looking at a defensive end, I mean, you want them to be progressing every year, getting better, not like maintaining. So that's why I feel like I think he's going to be a good fit. He definitely fills in a hole that we needed, so we can get some of our other players rest,
It
Karlakis, stuff like that. But
because
that's my point.
yeah, Spags really likes to rotate his 4-3 defensive line. He loves rotating it, which is great. It keeps everybody like pretty maintained through the end of the season, which is awesome. But if you like kind of look at like who we signed in free agency and like kind of who we drafted defensively. We drafted 2 DNs, and we drafted Felix, and then we drafted another one. I think it was like the fourth, fifth round. Um, but he's not like a Spags type of player you would think. Spags kind of drafted a little bit differently on defense this year, but I think it's because they want to be a more aggressive defense, which I'm okay with as long as we're not
We need to
calling.
get to the quarterback.
Yes, yes. Well, the thing is we were a top 5 team in sacks last year. Or no, not top 5. Sorry, top 10. We were a top 10 team in sacks last year, which is a big difference than what we used to be. But it for some reason the last 2 or 3 years the Chiefs defense is really shit for like 6, 7 weeks, and then they're kind of like they're decent for about 4 or 5, and then towards the end they're really good, which is great. You're good when it counts, but I like you to be good all year, not just a couple weeks out of the
And
season.
if y'all continue to struggle, that's fine with other teams in the league, respectfully, because the
I know
offense
it.
is too much to deal with. So
Yeah, man, it's gonna
gotta
be
bounce
fun.
out some.
So I guess with that, what teams do you think got better overall through the draft and plus free agency? So give me your. We all know who the first team's gonna be. It's gonna be the fucking
the
Eagles. It's gonna be
the
the Eagles.
Eagles got, yeah, the draft. They definitely, I don't know how, but they just made their defense even better. But my team that I feel like that people don't really give too much props to is I think Seattle might give some problems this year, especially
Their
if their
their
run defense gets better.
yeah, their secondary is kind of nuts actually.
They
Because
also
go ahead, sorry.
they also pulled the first wide receiver off the board at the draft.
And they
Yeah, they
got
got
they got
JSN.
they got they got
Jackson Smith.
arguably yeah they got arguably the best corner in the draft too.
Scary.
Scary. And they have Tariq Woolley, and then they have there's one more guy out there in the corner. I can't remember his name to save the life of me, but he played really well as well last year. Their defense
That's
is young.
Yeah, that team is like, cause that what I respect about Gino is like he ain't afraid to like take chances. So it's like now that he has like another weapon, now you have to deal with like DK, then you got to deal with Tyler, and then if JSN is gonna fit right in, and then he's gonna cause problems underneath. So it's like that team's only gonna get better, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think obviously, if we're not going to talk about the Eagles, I had the Seahawks on my list as well because
Mm-hmm.
I think they personally got the best wide receiver in the draft in Jackson Smith, Njigba, and then obviously they got the best corner. I think they drafted really well. I know I'm not Pete Carroll's like not a very um, he I don't know how he likes to call his offense all that well. I don't know how it works, but somehow it works. It worked with Geno Smith. I think they did well. Having Jackson Smith with DK Metcalf is going to be really disgusting. Another team that I thought got better, if we're going to go through just free agency plus the draft, you can't say the Bears or the Jets didn't get better all offseason.
I hate it. I hate the fact that I had to say that too, because I don't want to deal with the Jets, but that team's gonna be annoying too.
Yeah,
And if Brees comes back healthy,
the and if Brees comes back healthy, that offense is insane. Already with Aaron Rodgers, you've got Aaron Rodgers, Allen Lazard, uh, it's a
they
Chris.
grab Cobb too. They got
Hardman.
Cobb. They got Cobb too,
Yeah, they got Hardman,
and
Cobb,
Mecole. Y'all boy, yeah, Mecole Hardman.
and then I can't. It was a rookie last year. They drafted him last year. He's one of the best receivers in the class last year.
Oh, you're talking about Garrett?
Yes, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah,
So you got a young weapon in there. Like Aaron Rodgers got weapons. And it's in his line's
he
good.
has a good tight end too.
Yeah,
Not for
it's
nothing.
if Aaron
Conklin.
Rodgers wants to win some football all year long, like if he actually wants to go out there and play and not kind of give that wishy-washy, I don't give a shit attitude, then Jets are going to be a problem. They're going to be a problem.
Well, technically, he's not going to play because he said he has to have OBJ as well. That was on his list of demands.
Man.
You guys remember whenever that was
Yes.
all going around?
Yeah.
He went on Pat McAfee's show and said that shit was all nonsense, but he's like, I do have, if I get the chance to bring my guys with me, I'm gonna bring my guys with me. It's like we can't have half the Packers team on the Jets. This shit don't make no sense. This shit don't make no
I
sense.
mean, he
Man.
basically did that
I
with like
know.
two go-to players. Well, I don't know. He just didn't get Devontae back. Thankfully,
If
because that
Devontae
would have been
Adams was on the
stupid.
Jets, that would have been fucking insane. Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
no.
my god. Oh my god, I don't want to think about it. But yeah,
Yeah.
you have the Jets and then the Bears. They have a three wide receivers that are all fairly amendable for the quarterback back there, and it's I don't know, bro. Justin Fields, if he can't win with the receiver room that he has now, then it's Justin Fields' fault. Justin Fields just did
Mhm.
not pan out to what he was supposed to be. So I think this is the year that's like the last year on his on the contract for it. And I'm pretty sure after this year they can pick his contract up, right? Or is it another year after that? I believe it's
Was
this
it
year.
his third?
Yeah, it's his third
Yeah, I think
season.
this is his third year. Yeah.
So I think there's
Is
a
it?
fourth year option,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So there's a
Yeah,
fourth
yeah.
year option. So if he doesn't do well, I don't think they take it, and then they move on and go from there. But overall, the Bears and the Jets probably one of my two best teams that got better besides the Seahawks and the Eagles. With that, Brandon, who do you got that went better? Obviously, Eagles are on the list.
Philly, dude. I don't understand. If they had any weakness at all on defense, they solved it. I don't understand. Like you were saying at the beginning, Travy, I have
Yeah.
no idea why. Like, take the pick even if you don't need it, so they
Yo,
don't get
for
it.
real.
I don't know, but I mean, oh, I don't get it.
Oh my goodness, it's unreal because they just load it up, and then all of a sudden because they honestly it was all banking on if Jalen Hurts is going to be good or not because he played really well he got knocked out against Tampa Bay, and everybody was like, okay, is Jalen going to take the next step? And then Jalen has an MVP season. If he doesn't get hurt those last 3 weeks, he he has a good chance of getting the MVP over Patrick Mahomes. There's a good chance. It's in the air at least. So, you know,
That baby.
uh, I don't get how the Eagles are doing it, and they just signed Jalen to a massive deal. So I don't know what their cap is off the top of my head, but I know it's not a lot of money. So, however long they can
They
keep
don't need
doing
it.
it, Yeah, however long they can keep doing it, they can keep doing it because they obviously don't need the cap space that they've got all this draft capital and half the defense. So
They got a quarterback that lifts more weights than their offensive line.
it's
I
kind of
don't get
nuts.
it.
Kind of nuts. What teams got worse?
Okay, so worst teams, not for nothing. Surprisingly, I don't think that. Well, Houston is all on Stroud, right? But I don't want to say they got worse. I'm like just looking at my list here. Which
They
one?
kind of stayed. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't.
Yeah.
They got an upgrade on offense and defense, but other than that, everybody else is kind of like, you know,
Oh,
hearsay.
oh, I can tell you who got. You're probably gonna think I'm crazy, but I don't think Tennessee got any better. Even
I
with
don't
the
think you're
Will,
crazy. I
I
don't think
think
you're crazy.
they ain't even prioritize like their defense after like giving up the most like passing yards last season, which is gonna be a problem in this league, especially when you have to deal with like the Patrick Mahomes, the Jalen Hurts, and all type of quarterbacks that can put up points like that. So I don't. I feel like they got worse if anything. Even if they got Will, who I felt like I don't know. I
Oh,
don't know about him how he
dude,
dropped, but we'll see what happens. I don't feel like they got any better though. Respectfully,
I
Tennessee.
think
I agree with you.
I don't. I think for me, Tennessee made one of the picks that didn't make sense for me.
Hmm.
You just drafted a quarterback in the second round of last year, and then you come back around and get Will Levis in the second, which I had no thought that Will Levis was going to drop out the first. I had no
Right.
thought. I I personally thought if any, like I said, C.J. Stroud was going to be the first quarterback off the board for me, and then it was going to be Anthony Richardson, and then it
Hmm.
was going to be Bryce Young. That's how I had my list, but like right before the draft, I personally I had Richardson going to the Colts. I was like, okay, if he's gonna go anywhere, it's gonna be the Colts or it's gonna be the Raiders at 4 or 7, right? So before the draft, I was like, the Colts could really just flip a switch on everybody and go with Will Levis. You know what I mean? Like and it felt real until it happened. I'm glad Anthony Richardson went to the Colts, but I did not think Will Levis was going to play at all. That was the biggest surprise of the entire. And the team that he went to, I don't think is going to be well. I don't think they're going to be in
Uh,
a good spot. Like all you have is Derrick Henry on offense, and
That's all they've had for a couple years now.
that's true.
and it's very easy to stop. Like every team's adjusting. Like yeah, like Derrick Henry's going to get 18 to 2,000 yards a year, but they're done after the first round because
Well,
his
the
legs
thing
are
is,
gone and they're beat up.
he might get those yards, but that's not. You're not using him for longevity at that point, and you've built your team around him. So you sitting there running him first, second, third down every game, every drive. I mean,
I don't know how his
the
legs
dude's
haven't.
gonna be, and it doesn't even matter. Like, yes, he's one of the biggest backs like we've seen, but wear and tear. I mean, he's just gonna. I mean, look at Jamal Charles for the Chiefs. That's a very good example. He was our offense for season on season. Next thing you know, double ACL injuries, and he's done. And with players getting stronger, getting bigger, getting faster, I mean, you're just not setting yourself up for success building around a running back, in my opinion.
Yeah,
It's not a running league anymore. And I mean, you think about getting hit by defensive ends and um, linebackers
linebacker.
all
Oh
day. Like you're gonna get tired.
yeah. I think for me, I think the running back position is just super diminished because they don't expect so much out of a running back. Like you said, It's not a running league anymore. It's a passing league.
Mhm.
We want to see the ball be thrown 80 yards down the field and have a crazy catch, or somebody get burned. I think Derrick Henry's like the last one of his kind that can just keep going and going and
I
going.
agree.
I don't think his legs are going to be that good for a lot longer because they've ran him so much, and that's just the unfortunate part about the position. Um, you know, I
He
don't
needs
think.
to get paid big
Oh
to
yeah, I
make
think though
wow.
he'll get a big payday here soon, and that'll probably be like the last one, unless for some on God's grace his legs don't give out and he plays at a high level for however long. But it's like I said with Bijan Robinson going at 8. Like I said, I had him going at 10 to the Eagles when they and originally there was no trade or anything. I thought that
Mm.
was the perfect fit. I don't think obviously Bijan Robinson is they consider him like one of the best prospects they've seen in a long time at a running back position, but it's going to become more common that we're not going to see a running back like in the top 10 probably for a long time after this, unless we get
Yeah.
blown away by somebody. But I don't see it anymore because I don't think running back's going to be an important position in the next
Well,
coming
and not
years.
only that, but your running back also, the reason that he's so dominant, BJ Robinson, is he can also catch the ball out of the backfield.
Mm.
So,
I was yeah. Go ahead. My bad.
no, you're fine.
Now
But
I was actually gonna say like I was getting kind of glimpse of like Jamal Charles from him, um, but we'll see if
He is from
he
Texas.
can like take advantage of that in Atlanta. So
Yeah, it's like you said, their line is a little scary, but I think if you a backfield with Cordell Patterson and Bijan Robinson is not a bad backfield. You know what I'm saying? You got speed and Cordell Patterson, and you got just an animal in Bijan Robinson. So hopefully it works out. I think the Falcons have a good future. I just don't know about Desmond Ritter. That's the only one that we don't know about. That's their quarterback. They said they're gonna roll with him. It's a fourth round pick. They said he was like a second round talent last year. He just fell because nobody really wanted to draft a quarterback apparently. But more
mm,
power to him. Um, what so which who do you think got picked too high? Like out of that first round, who do you think got picked too high?
mm, you can actually go Krypt. I'm looking because I have notes, but I don't want
um,
to.
I mean, I'm going to kind of just hit on something that I guess I kind of hit on earlier is the fact that Bryce Young went before
CJ Stroud.
TJ Shroud, and then I don't know though because I mean they are, in my opinion, they are a 1 and 2. So it's just which one you think is going to give you longevity.
The
Hmm.
Carolina Panthers aren't in a bad spot. It wasn't a bad pick. I don't think I think Bryce Young will do well in this league. I just think he was a fairly smaller quarterback that we've seen in a while. But Kyler Murray got drafted at number 1 a couple years ago. He's like 5'9". So take it
Yeah.
or leave it. My person that got picked too high, and it was another pick that didn't make sense for me, was Jahmyr Gibbs to the Detroit Lions. I don't know. You just signed Montgomery in the offseason,
Yeah.
and then after the draft they traded, or during the draft they traded DeAndre Swift, which I figured they would do after they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. But this pick makes no sense. They had their backfield was fine. So what? Because I didn't, I for the whole offseason I did not hear anything about any issues with DeAndre Swift and the Lions, and then all of a sudden, DeAndre Swift played well for them last year, and they just gave up on him like that. So maybe there's something we don't know. But Jahmyr Gibbs was the pick that didn't make sense to me, and I thought it was too high. Because I personally thought Jahmyr Gibbs was gonna go. I thought the Patriots are gonna draft him, or I thought the Buccaneers are gonna draft him. That's where I thought he
Mm.
was gonna go. So, um, it just doesn't make sense to me. That was the only pick that I was like, what the like what the fuck, like why'd they do that? And you can tell like when I was watching the draft and like I was listening to it because I was on my computer, but I was listening to it and I was looking back and forth, and like all the people on the booth are like, that pick doesn't, why'd they do that? Like it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I guess I'm not the only one that agrees with that, but that's who I had that was picked too high. What about you, Travy?
All right. So hot take. I think Zay got picked a little bit too
Zay
quickly,
Flowers?
Mr. Zay Flowers, because
Ooh.
I ain't gonna lie. Another hot take. I don't think Baltimore's gonna be that crazy this season. Just me personally. But
Somebody speaks truth in this chat, man.
yeah,
Somebody speaks
I
some truth in this chat. I like this. I like this.
they've had the speed before and they didn't really do anything with it. So and you're getting like OBJ, who we don't even know if is going to be 100% OBJ. So it's like,
he fleeced the
it-
Ravens for
yeah,
$18 million, bro.
I
Oh,
think Zay got picked a little bit high. I get it though, because you want to kind of like keep like Lamar happy or whatever, but I don't think they had to go there. But maybe they know something we don't. So
fair enough. Fair enough.
Lamar should have been happy with that contract, considering he's getting paid quarterback money as a running back.
He's. I'm glad that he got paid, like by all means, but the Ravens did not get better. Like they just didn't. The Ravens did
yeah.
not get better. They signed Odell, like you said. Odell's coming off of 2 ACL tears in the same knee, and he's 30 years old. You know, I hope he does well, but I'm not. Nobody in the league was gonna give him over $4 million, and he walked into the Ravens facility. He was like, "I want 18. If you could, slide me a couple of dollars, I would appreciate that." And then they signed him. More power to him. Get your money. I just don't think it was a good pick. The Ravens will probably be in the playoffs, but they'll be like the 6th or 7th. Like they'll be neck and neck with a couple teams. I feel like at the bottom of the playoffs for sure. But I don't have faith in that team whatsoever. But maybe I'm just a salty Chiefs fan that doesn't like the Ravens. Who knows? Uh, who was picked too low for you guys? For me personally, I thought Jackson Smith got picked too low. I thought he was gonna go in the early teens. I
Yeah,
thought he
me
was gonna
too.
go there. So, but because the I think it was pick 20 to 24, or sorry, 23, because there was only 31 picks. Uh, that was when that little wide receiver stint started going on. So we had
Right.
Jackson, Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers, and Jordan Addison. But I thought Jackson, like I said, was going to get picked in the teens, and I thought the Titans were going to take him because they need a wide receiver. They just got rid of Robert Woods, like they need one. They haven't had a wide receiver obviously since they traded AJ Brown 2 years ago. So I thought they were going to give a weapon to help Tannehill, and I was totally wrong. They got him a tackle, but how much longer is Tannehill going to be there? What about you, Travy? Who do you think got picked too low?
I felt like Dalton Kincaid fell a little bit too much, and I don't like that he went to the Bills
He
because
went to a
that's
perfect
basically
situation for him.
because they run dual tight ends. It's
Mhm.
it's gonna be annoying for like one of the best catching tight ends in the league. But I feel like a couple of teams could have used him, like the Bears and things like that. But the Bears had to beef up their O line, so it's understandable with what they did. But I felt like Dalton Kincaid could have definitely a little bit quicker than
Yeah,
the pick he got chosen at.
he fell into a perfect situation. Not only is he playing with Josh Allen, but since they do run the two tight end threats,
Yeah,
Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid on the outside is going to be a little nasty. So they'll be annoying to play against for sure. I can't imagine that. But it's more or less how they run the offense. But I think that was he got picked too low, but it was a perfect spot. You know what I mean?
right.
So
It
more or
was a
less
perfect spot for him.
for him. Yes, perfect spot for him. There you go. Fell into the perfect hands. What about you, Krypt? Who fell in the draft to you?
So I've got two. I've got Miles Murphy that went to Cincinnati. I think he's
He it was a 28th pick. He was a DN from Clemson. Yeah.
yeah. So I think he's a stud. I do think
Six-five,
he's gonna do just fine in Cincinnati. Like he's not gonna be bad there, I'm sure. But I don't know. I just felt like he should have went higher up. I mean, he had a very successful college career, so I hope that it translates over to the NFL.
Just not against us.
Yeah, he can sack every quarterback but Patrick, and I'll be very
Good luck
happy.
with that.
Yeah, no cap, man. Who's the second one?
What was his name? Darnell Washington, a tight end. He's like 6'7", 270,
Oh,
and runs.
this is the guy in the third round, right?
Yeah, he was a third round pick. He's 6'7", 270. I'm looking at my notes right
Jesus.
here, and
Yeah,
runs a 4.6 40.
yeah, he
Oh
was a
my
tight.
gosh.
Yeah, it's a third
So
round
like,
pick. He was the fourth best tight end in the draft.
so like, his stat line isn't great by any means, but you have somebody that's 6'7", running a 4.6. That that's athletic ability, and I just I think it can transfer over, and I think he can improve. He did go to the Steelers though,
Yeah.
so
I don't think I think it's a good situation. It's just a matter of how good Kenny Pickett is because Kenny Pickett
yeah,
like he heated up towards the end of the year last year. After that, I really don't know because we only got like maybe 3 games that he played well in. So it's just can Kenny Pickett transfer over? I think it's a good pick. Like I'm looking at it. They're saying his NFL comp is Mercedes Lewis, and Mercedes Lewis wasn't a bum by all means. So
yeah,
um, he's 6'7", 270. Worst case scenario, just make him block a couple plays and you're set. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Well, and that's what I was also thinking. Like, if with them being so unsure, or not unsure, I guess is not the right word, but with Kenny Pickett being wishy-washy, I guess would be the best way to put it. Being able to have a big body up there for running if they needed it. Hopefully they can improve their running game this season, and that'll allow Kenny Pickett to be a little more comfortable and be able to sling the football the way that it needs to be
Sweet.
slung.
Oh yeah. I think I said and Mike I can't remember his last name. Is it Tomlin? Is that how you say it?
Tomlin, yeah.
Tomlin. Sorry,
Steelers
Mike
coach,
Tomlin. Yeah,
yeah.
Mike Tomlin. He for some reason he's really good at finding receivers like that. Or I
Oh
know
yeah,
I know
he
Darnell
definitely is.
Washington isn't a receiver, but he's 6'7". He's got good speed. Obviously, I'm sure Mike Tomlin can do something with that. So
Yeah.
that's a good solid
But
pick.
that's a fucking huge tight end.
Oh, 6'7",
Hey,
270 at moving at 4'6" is insane. That's not human. It sounds like.
I'm surprised his coaches didn't try and get him to like transfer over to linebacker or something. I mean,
Do,
that's
would you
insane.
would you consider him a steal? Because you
base,
got to like with that pick, you're banking on total potential. I feel like because
yeah. Well, and that's what I was just getting ready to say. Like, if you're basing it on potential, then, but at the same, I mean, at the same time, all the entire draft is, hey, they did good in college, or
yeah,
hey, there's potential here with this player, so let's see what we can get out of him. I
Right.
mean, worst case scenario, he is a bum and doesn't have to get a regular job like us for the rest of his life because he's
doesn't
got that
make.
NFL money.
Oh yeah, and being on practice squad ain't bad. Like I'm not gonna disrespect somebody being on practice squad. They're making a living getting hit for a couple days. I'm good. So
They're
more power
getting
to
their
them.
ass whipped by.
Tackling Derrick
Oh
Henry,
my
good luck.
gosh. Uh, I don't know when it comes to how this draft went in general. I think, like I said, everybody got who they got, but I feel like there was a lot of picks where it was like scratching your head, like why did we do that, or we're totally banking on this guy turning into this entire weapon or this gem of a player. And I think as a Chiefs fan, we've gotten really, really blessed with Brett Veach being able to draft very well. You know, they we got 3 starting corners last year out of the 5th and 7th round. You know what I mean? Or the 4th through the 7th round. That's insane. I you couldn't tell me a couple years ago that a 7th round pick is starting at corner and doing well. You know what I mean? Like Jalen Watson was a 7th round pick. Josh Williams was a 4th round pick, and obviously McDuffie was our 1st round pick along with Karloftis. Um, so I don't know. I think the draft, like I said, for me, I only watched the 1st round. After that, I didn't really care. It was kind of boring. I feel like that's what the draft is. Like after the 1st round, the media kind of just dies away from it. It's more like an attraction for people to go to and enjoy. I wish I went, but it was at capacity by 11 o'clock in the morning. So,
11. Damn.
oh yeah, there's 300,000 people showed up in general. I think. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot, and it was the biggest venue for the draft that's ever been made. Right? Am I wrong, Brandon? Like it's one of the bigger venues.
It was the biggest stage made, but I believe a couple years ago it was in Nashville, and it was like
Ooh.
600,000 people.
Uh,
Like it was double. But if you also think about it, and I'm gonna get a little off of the sports topic for a second, but Nashville has a bunch of drunk motherfuckers walking around anyways. Like
and
they're like,
it's
"Oh,
a
what's
it's
going on
a
over here?"
it's like a music place. So like there's a lot of
Yeah.
people
So I
that
mean,
are
there's a lot of people there already.
yeah.
So who knows if all of those people really showed up for the draft, or they were,
Going off the tickets
watching
that were registered, the people that registered for the draft, that's what they went off of. That would be
um,
that could be what they went off of. I feel like you
yeah,
never know.
that could be.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Um, so to end off the NFL topic, really, we went through it pretty fast. We're gonna go through predictions of playoffs. They're really early predictions. These are
Oh
early predictions,
boy.
boys. So we're gonna go through the. We're just gonna do playoff standings. So I'm not gonna make you say who's gonna beat who. I'm just gonna ask you 1 through 7 in each division. Who is gonna be ranked from 1 to 7, and then I'm
Oh
gonna
my
ask
god.
you your NFL award predictions. Now I did all the awards. You don't have to give me all the awards. You can just give me like your MVP, offensive rookie, or defensive rookie, or just go from there. You don't have to give me all of them. But I'm going to start off with giving you my AFC standings. And I was not biased. The Chiefs are not one. I promise the Chiefs aren't one.
What?
Yeah, so I actually have Cincy at 1. Now, the
Okay,
reason
that's
I
fair.
have Cincy at 1 is because I feel like this is the year that we see Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes kind of just be neck and neck the whole time again. I
Hmm.
think we see Joe take some like minor steps in his game, but they're big. They help him a lot on the field. I still think he's gonna get sacked a shit ton. They're gonna be the first seed, but I think they're gonna be one of the first teams out of the playoffs because their offensive line, in my opinion, didn't get any better. And they paid all this money for all these offensive linemen, and they're either getting hurt or they're not blocking correctly. Orlando Brown was a great pickup, but if we're gonna be honest, as a Chiefs fan, he would
I'm gonna
block, but
say it.
he would get pressured a lot. Yes, he's still blocking Patrick Mahomes, and he's not. Patrick didn't get hit a lot, but if you go back and watch the tape, Orlando Brown is getting pushed like 2 or 3 yards back every time. It's more power to him. I'm glad he got his contract. I'm happy with Jawan Taylor because it's younger, and we signed Donovan Smith, which I don't know if he's gonna start, and then one of these they're gonna plug a rookie in if he's not playing well. We'll see how that goes. I have Cincy, KC at 2. I have Buffalo at 3, and this is where it's gonna hurt Travy's heart. I've got the Jets at 4, and I've got Miami at 5. And for 6, I put Baltimore if they're healthy. If Baltimore is not healthy at 6, it's going to be the Chargers at 6, and I think Jacksonville will be 7. I think Jacksonville takes a pretty big step up in offense with Calvin Ridley coming back off of a year of no football, just
Hmm.
probably straight training. So he's healthy as can be, legs are feeling good. So I think they're going to be a hot team at the end of the playoffs. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to take another big step this year. So they'll be the last team in the playoffs. But like I said, if Baltimore can't stay healthy, it'll be the Chargers at 6, and then Jacksonville at 7. But if the Baltimore does stay healthy, I do have them at 6, but they will be a team that gets kicked out of the playoffs fairly early as well. So you can tell me either your AFC or you can start with your NFC and then go to the AFC after
Mm. So I'll go actually. So the AFC, I'm surprised they didn't say KC, but I'm actually gonna put them at 1 because I think that you getting the edge pressure is gonna help counter Cincinnati. But it's gonna be neck and neck with Cincy though. So I'm gonna put KC,
that.
then I'm gonna
The
put
best young
Cincinnati.
linebacker core in the league too. Don't sleep.
Cincinnati
You
at
put him as
2.
number 2. Shut up.
Cincy's gonna be 2. 3. So 3 is gonna be tough. So I'm either no bias. I feel it's gonna be either the Pats or Buffalo. Because I think Buffalo, but the tough thing is like the AFC East is going to be a toss up because there's going to be like those three trying to
There
fight for a spot. But
is there a chance? I don't know if it can happen, but is there a chance that all four teams from the AFC East can get in the playoffs? Is that capable of
it's
happening?
possible, but it's very slim. But the crazy part is, I think three of them could make it, but I'm not gonna say like all three of them make it. That's like
Right.
kind of unrealistic. But yeah, I'm gonna have either New England or Buffalo at 3, 4, and then I'm actually gonna place Jacksonville higher. Like I'm gonna place them at like 5, 6 area
hmm
because I think they'll do better. And then I'm gonna go with Chargers. So last, because I think that like I agree with you. The Jacksonville getting Ridley is only gonna make them better.
You gave
And
you gave you gave Trevor Lawrence an actual. I get Christian
yeah,
Kirk was your one, but I believe Calvin Ridley is a better one than Christian Kirk. If I'm gonna be honest,
yeah.
but they're gonna be good this year, and that defense is young, and they're gonna get better. They got hot at the end of the season too.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you got in
But
the
yeah, that's my
AFC?
AFC guys.
Brandon, who you got in the AFC?
I've got KC at 1. And the reason I'm sitting here writing is I'm writing your guys' list down. So
You're
at
okay.
the end, we can maybe do this again and
Okay.
then see who was closest and who was right.
Okay. Sweet.
But so I've got Kansas City, and then I've got Buffalo.
You got
Then
Buffalo at 2.
yeah, I think I'm not a fan of Joe Burrow. I'm really not.
That's
I
fair.
I just don't.
Kansas
If he
City, Kansas City just does not like Joe Burrow, bro, in any aspect, bro.
no, no,
It's not it's I know, but it's not I know it's not because of that. But if you ask somebody that's like either like a pretty solid Chiefs fan or a dire Chiefs fan, they're gonna tell you Joe Burrow is one of the worst people on this planet, bro. It's
I
so
don't think
funny.
he's a bad person.
No, absolutely not. No,
I don't think he's I don't think he's the worst quarterback.
no,
But
absolutely not.
and if he could move around like Patrick could or like Josh Allen could, I would probably have him at number. I'd have Cincy at number 2. I think it all comes down to sacks. I mean, you have to have a constant, steady offense, and
Oh yeah.
they go games where their offense is, I feel like, is non-existent.
I feel like if you stop Joe Mixon and you force Joe Burrow to pass the ball a lot, it doesn't do them well. Like he can do it, but I don't think it's something they want to do the whole time because they love running the ball with Joe Mixon. But if you get Joe Mixon not getting enough yards, then you're putting the whole game on Joe Burrow, and I don't feel like it works all that well.
And then
That line,
another,
that old line.
That O
yeah,
line's terrible. That O line's terrible. And it's crazy because they paid so much money for it. They paid Lyle Collins. They paid Orlando Brown. They had a guy they paid on the inside. I think his name Ted Carcass, something like that. Like they paid like a center, a left tackle, and a right tackle all this money, and the right tackle didn't stay healthy. The center got hurt at the end of the season, and they still weren't blocking all that well. So I think Cincinnati's in the spot where they think their offensive line's good. It's good enough to you know keep Joe Burrow safe. But at the end of the day, I don't think their offensive line's going to stay nearly as healthy as it is towards the end of the year because that's just how it's been. I hope it doesn't happen. I'm not going to wish injury upon anybody, but that's just the consistency we've seen the last 2 years. They just always get hurt, and Joe Burrow's getting sacked 40, 50 times, and then
well,
he can't keep it up in the playoffs.
and with that being said, also you have to think about it. I mean, Joe Burrow getting hit by Chris Jones super hard multiple times. I mean, we talked about Derrick Henry's durability, but I mean, you want to talk about a very big size difference of people like Chris Jones sitting there. Like, I mean, getting sacked 50, 60 times. I know I'm exaggerating, but I mean, that's
I
got
mean,
a big.
It was 50 something times, not this past year, but the year before. The
Pretty
year
sure
they
it was
went to
like
the
the
Super
most in the
Bowl.
league too.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
50. It's like 53 or 54, I think. That's
And
insane.
then the whole. I hate the whole like. Oh well, the offensive line was inconsistent. We had this guy out. We haven't had the same offensive line for 1 week in a row. It's like, well, I mean, Patrick Mahomes didn't have an offensive line either, and he got it figured out.
Yeah.
But
So you have Buffalo at 2, Cincy at 3, and then after that, Who you got at?
Pats,
Say that one more
because
time.
Pats.
You got the Pats at 4.
Yeah,
Really? Okay.
I don't admit this very often, but I have a Tom Brady jersey from sitting in my closet upstairs. I've been a Pats fan. I think Bill Belichick is one of the greatest coaches of all time. For a long time, people were taking team-friendly deals just to play for him or with him. So I don't necessarily believe in Mac Jones all that much, but I think you can get by in this league with a subpar quarterback if you have good coaching and good ball and clock management. So I am going to put Pats at 4.
This is shocking to me. I did not think I'd hear the Pats on anybody's list. Like I figured I hear it'd be on Travis, but it'd be like lower. I did not think you guys would put the Pats at 4. That's shocking actually. Wow. Okay. You can keep going, Brandon.
Then I've got the Jags.
You got the Jags at 5. It's
Yeah.
valid. It's valid.
Then I've got the Chargers at 6.
Okay.
And I've got the Jets at 7.
You
And
think that
the reason being I see the Jets as just a colossal throw together team with a lot of egos on it. And I mean, we've seen it before. If you do something wrong in practice and Aaron Rodgers doesn't like it, he's not throwing you the ball. I mean,
Oh man.
maybe in his dark room for 3 days retreat, maybe he found a piece of himself where he's not like that anymore. But there's a reason that he wanted Lazard and Cobb, and nobody can tell me different. He wanted them because he feels comfortable throwing to them, and those are going to be his, regardless of what the play is, those are going to be his first and second look if they're on the field at the same time.
Listen, all I know is that Zach Wilson's gonna give him hell every day in practice.
That's what he
Yeah,
said.
he said that. He's going to give him heaven off the field.
Yeah.
I wonder if that means, I wonder if heaven off the field is like for Zach Wilson is like unlimited milfs or something.
I'm just glad they don't use Denzel Mims, which is like crazy to me. But the Jets just keep him stashed, and if
They
Aaron's
have
just not
Elijah
gonna throw
Moore
to him,
stashed. Elijah
yeah,
Moore's
it's like
sitting over there not doing anything. He was a first round pick 2 years ago.
yeah, it's sad.
It's unfortunate. So you have the Jets at 7. Okay.
So let's like refresh our list really quick because I need like a rundown.
So
Since Brandon said he wrote it down.
yeah. So my
I want
AFC
to write it
was
down too.
Cincy, KC, Buffalo, Jets, Miami, Baltimore if they're healthy, and then
No, you have to have a dead set,
Oh.
dude. You can't do if.
Fuck. Okay.
then you're gonna be
Fuck
like,
it. No, I'll fuck it. Fuck it. I'll put the Chargers at 6. I'll put the Chargers at 6. And I got
Okay.
Jacksonville at 7.
Okay.
And then Brandon had KC, Buffalo, Cincy, Patriots, Jacksonville, Chargers, and the Jets.
hmm
And then Travy, you had KC, Cincy. You had Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
And then you had Pats at 4.
Yeah.
And then 5 you had the
I have Jacksonville.
You have Jacksonville at 5.
Jacksonville.
And
Yeah.
then 6, who was 6 and 7?
Chargers.
Chargers. So we all agree on 6.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
sadly.
and who did you have at 7?
7 is going to be tough.
It's a toss
Because I
up
think
because
I
I feel like
I had like 2 3s slash
Yeah.
3 4s. So it's like I'm not maybe Baltimore most likely.
Over Miami?
I think so. Yeah. I don't think Miami has like the players. I don't feel like they're Tua's like that. Like
Tua-
when he really needs to be.
Tua,
He's like that in regular season, but like in the playoffs, I haven't
Tua,
seen it. So.
I pray Tua doesn't get hurt again, bro. But
Yeah.
like at the same time, 3 concussions in like less than 3 months is kind of fucking insane. He should not. I
Yeah.
don't think he should have been playing at the end of the season. Okay, sweet. Well, we got the AFC list. I look forward to seeing how those turn out at the end of the year. We will, before the season happens, we'll come back to this list, and if we want to change anything, we will change it one time. One
Good.
time.
Okay.
It's only before the season. So before the season, we'll come back.
Looking
We'll write.
forward to it.
We'll all look. We'll all look down to it, and we'll get it from there. Because obviously the offseason isn't over. There's still a lot of decent names out there in free agency. Trades can happen. We don't know what the NFL's in for. So we're gonna go to the NFC side now. So the NFC
Oh
is
boy.
weak as shit in my. It's I had a hard time making this list after 3. From 4 to 7, I was tough. So 1 I have Philly. 2 I have San Fran. Because you're in a situation. You got Mike Shanahan a head coach. You've got
Mhm.
Trey Lance, who was a first round pick. So, and we don't know how he played. He only played like 2 games, 2 or 3 games, then he got hurt. So we don't know how he plays. The first game he ever played in, it was pouring down rain. We don't know how he plays in an actual on a solid, beautiful day of football. There's no issues. I haven't seen him zip a ball yet, so he's in that stratosphere of we don't know yet. Brock Purdy is coming off of not a Tommy John surgery, but it's an elbow injury, but it was a pretty big one. I believe he tore something in his elbow, but it wasn't Tommy John needed. Um, and then you have Sam Darnold.
Oh
To me,
gosh.
Mike, and I know it's crazy, but Mike Shanahan proved last year he can win with any quarterback on that fucking football field. If the guy can run the system, it's fine. Mike Shanahan will deal with it because he has Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and all these weapons around him. So I have San Fran at 2, but if I'm going to be honest with you, if Brock Purdy's healthy at the beginning of the season, they'll start Brock Purdy. If Brock Purdy has a few bad games, I think they go to Trey Lance. And if for some reason Trey Lance doesn't work, Sam Darnold's going to come in and they're going to pray to God Sam Darnold can throw a football. So go from there. And then at 3, I have Dallas because Dallas did get better. They got Brandon Cook and Stephon Gilmore. And, Stephon Gilmore is older, so he's going to play the 2. But Trayvon Diggs and Stephon Gilmore as a cornerback duo is a solid duo. Their defense is set. They have a great defense. It's more or less, is Dak Prescott going to be shit, or is Dak Prescott going to be worth $50-something million next year? So,
Real
4.
quick, before you move on from Dallas,
Okay.
thoughts on the Zeke on kicking him down the road?
I thought Zeke should have been gone last year. I
agree.
think Tony Pollard is a better running back. Zeke I'm not saying Zeke is a bad running back, but I think Zeke is he's not a 3-down guy. He can run on 3rd and down and get you a couple yards. I think that's what he's turned into. I think he's just a guy you plug in on short yardage plays, and he'll give you he'll have maybe like 8, 9 touchdowns. Say if he goes to a team, because they'll just put him in the end zone and just tell him to run straight and get you a touchdown. That's all they're gonna do. I don't think Zeke has it in his legs anymore. Tony Pollard was a better option. He's been the better option for a year. Um, he's quicker. His legs don't seem to be giving out anytime soon, and he runs with just straight nose. And for some reason, like I said, his speed is something else. I've never seen somebody kick a second gear like he does in the backfield. It's kind of nuts. Um, I'm really glad Jerry Jones wasn't gonna be Jerry Jones and re-sign Ezekiel Elliott for like a lot of money, because that's something he would do, and I'm surprised he didn't do it. So maybe that's a sign that Jerry Jones is somewhat coherent of what he's doing.
I'm
Um,
sorry. I'm sorry.
no, it's just the truth. Like the last 2 off seasons, like Jerry Jones just been doing. I'm not giving Dak that much money. I wouldn't give it. Like I understand why you did, but I'm not giving Dak that much money. And this is Ezekiel Elliott was one of the highest paid running backs for like 4 or 5 years in a row. In the last 3 years, Ezekiel Elliott has been pretty goddamn mid. So, it's whatever. Their offense is good. Like I said, they get Brandon Cooks. They have CeeDee Lamb. Like their offense is good. I think it'll be a lot better. Like it all comes down to Dak motherfucking Prescott. Is Dak
interception Prescott?
Yeah, is Dak Prescott gonna give me 15 interceptions again, or is he gonna give me like 40 touchdowns and like 7 interceptions? We don't know. We'll see. And then at 4, I've got the Giants. I'm not proud of that pick. Daniel Jones played well, kind of, all season, but I don't think he was. The fact that Daniel Jones got paid more than some of these quarterbacks that just got paid is kind of nuts. So, only reason the Giants are really at 4 is because I didn't have any hope in anybody else in the NFC after 4. So, I got the Saints at 5 because the Saints got Derek Carr. Derek Carr's not the best, but he's a lot
I don't
better.
feel like that's a bad one.
And I don't think it is either, because their defense is really good. It's more or less that their offense going to stay healthy, because you got Michael Thomas and Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara. With Derek Carr having weapons, it's not going to be. They're going to be good. They'll probably be 1 or 2 in their actual division. So, I got them at 5, and then I have Detroit at 6. I think Detroit's going to win some games this year, and I also think that one of the steals in the draft was Hendon Hooker at the 3rd round that they got. As a Tennessee quarterback, and I think him sitting behind Jared Goff will be good for him. Even though Jared Goff isn't that great, it'll still be good for him. I think if Jared Goff doesn't play that well this year, Hendon Hooker will play next year. And then at 7, I have Chicago, but I believe Chicago will be out by first round.
Okay, that's fair.
Because if that's the case, because if it's the wild card, because wild card's 7 and 8, right? Or is that who it plays at 7 and 8, and then 5 and 6?
Yeah. 5 and 6 usually get seeds. 7
Okay.
to play first round.
Okay, so 6 and 7. So Detroit and Chicago will play each other. I'd say Detroit would beat Chicago. Fuck. Wait a minute. Oh, I can't wait till we make this list again. Oh, okay. I'm gonna stick with my list. Trav, I'll let you go next. I should have put 2 different teams there, but it's okay.
So the NFC mid conference.
You said the
Philly,
mid conference?
Yeah, the mid conference compared to the AFC. Philly number 1, hands down, should be no question, and they got better in the draft. Still makes no sense. I think they're gonna be tough to beat over there because, like you said, there ain't that many good NFC teams. But who knows? Maybe we get shocked. Number 2, I got San Fran because I trust that defense to help them get there. Even if Purdy doesn't play like his greatest, he's got to be like efficient enough for them to like
That's what I'm saying, man.
get enough wins, which I feel like they can do. And then 3, I have Seattle, which is gonna sound crazy, but I feel like this team really could make some noise this season. But we'll see. And then like I actually have the same number 4 as you, the Giants, because I feel like having like Darren Waller to help. I don't really think Daniel Jones is him, but
no, I don't think so either.
And I know Giants fans that don't believe that's him, so I still got them at 4 though. And
Darren Waller was a great pickup though. Shout out to the Raiders
sure.
giving him out of the division.
And then I have Dallas because obviously even though the NFC's mid, I think the NFC East is pretty much going to be running this conference. And I have Detroit at 6 because I think they can actually get over the hump this season.
We agree on Detroit.
They actually should have made it last season, but they just got unlucky at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have NL after that. I don't think Derek Carr is crazy. Never really thought of him being that crazy, but I think his division's like obviously it should be the Saints because Tampa Bay obviously don't, unless like we still don't know where Tom's going to, so that could also be another thing that can shake things up because supposedly he still wants to play, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Listen, man, Tom Brady, I know you're probably not listening, but if you ever see this video before the season comes out, stay your old ass at home. Stop. Just stop.
I have a joke, but I don't know if it's appropriate.
Just leave your old ass at home, bro. Like I don't know. I don't think he's gonna come. I think he's done. I think he's done. But
I think so too. But
they have Baker Mayfield at quarterback in Tampa Bay, boys. God only knows how it's gonna go down there.
Hey.
I'm not hating on Baker Mayfield. I was a fan of Baker Mayfield. I hope it works. But I don't think it works. He should have. I think he should have stayed on the Rams and just stayed behind Matt until Matt was done.
Yeah, that
You
probably would
get
have been.
you get Cooper Kupp as your wide receiver one. I'll take Cooper Kupp over Mike Evans personally, but that's just because Mike Evans is a little bit older than Cooper Kupp.
Mm.
So, and the situation is decent, but it's not the best. Okay. What's yours, Brandon? Give me your NFC list.
So basically, I have the same three as you. So Philly, I
San
mean,
Fran, Dallas.
they're going to be one.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like we talked about earlier. They're somehow even better than they were last year. Whenever they were great last year. San Francisco. The only thing that I think could maybe throw a wrench in San Francisco being the number two is if they go back and forth on this, like, oh, starting this week, Purdy, starting this week,
They'll
and
need
they just
consistency.
because
Yeah, for sure.
your wide receivers aren't going to get comfortable with one dude. You know, they're going to be constantly so. And I think they would have gave Philly more of a run for their money last year had
Right,
and
Purdy not been hurt.
using. Well, remember they were using their like fourth string.
At one point, Christian McCaffrey was throwing the ball. So
Yeah, he changed his helmet on the sideline to. I mean, that's nuts. He wasn't even on the
That
team
is
for a
wild.
full season.
God
But
damn.
then I've got. So I said Dallas, and then I agree. I do think Seattle is going to be. So I've got Seattle at 4. I just think Geno Smith, Russell Wilson is ass now. But whenever he was in Seattle, I do think he was a good quarterback to be behind and learn from. And then I've got Giants. I'm also not fully sold on Daniel Jones.
I don't think anybody is.
I think he honestly got away with murder with his contract. Personally, I mean,
He fleeced,
but
dude.
I also think Lamar Jackson got away with murder on his contract. So then I've got Detroit, and believe it or not, I've got Carolina.
Wow.
You got Bryce Young getting into the playoffs first year?
Maybe.
Word. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
That's a take, man. I look forward to
Hot
that.
take.
Yeah, I look
Hey.
forward to it.
My list will change by
Well,
the next.
I also wrote under my notes. I said 7. If it wasn't Chicago, it could be Seattle. So I had Seattle could be on this list at some point. Like I said, before the season starts, we're gonna come back to it. We're gonna after all the news is done, after everything's settled, we're gonna do this list again. I look forward to it. So now we're gonna do the awards. So I'll just go down my list, give you my awards. Like I said, you don't have to give me all of them. You can just give me some of them. My offensive rookie of the year is Bijan Robinson. I feel like he's gonna absolutely tear it up, even though their line is mid. I hope he does do well. If he isn't the offensive rookie of the year, I have it'll probably be Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. It'll be one of the quarterbacks I got drafted first or second. Defensive rookie of the year, hands down, it's going to be Jalen Carter to the Eagles. Jalen Carter on the Eagles defensive line. If bearing, if all the off the field shit gets handled, or if it doesn't get handled, that's what it's barring. But say if it does, Jalen Carter is going to be a defensive rookie of the year. That man is a monster. That defensive line is nuts. Playing them is not going to be fun. If we see them in the playoffs in the Super Bowl again, that's going to be hell on earth in the trenches. My MVP, I think Jalen Hurts comes back and gives us an even better year, or just a little bit better. I think he gets more passing touchdowns than he did last year. I think the offensive touchdowns are going to be there because he had 14. you saying timeout? My offensive player of the year is Patrick Mahomes. If that makes you feel better.
No, that I agree with that.
Okay.
What I was gonna say was the time. Did they actually get rid of the quarterback sneak thing?
No.
I know that was
So that
in
it was on the like in the talks like during the meetings and before the off season started. Um, listen, realistically, they're not gonna get rid of that fucking move because yes, is it annoying that you can put two people behind the quarterback to push him forward? Yes,
the
but
man's feet aren't even on the fucking ground.
yeah, it's it's. I'm not a fan of the play, but I don't like the play. I don't think it should be in the playbook, but it's gonna. I don't think the NFL is gonna get rid of it. And it's probably unless if they do get rid of it, it'll be next year because if the Eagles continue to run it, it'll probably get. There's a chance it may get diminished next year.
The reason I wanted to do the timeout is I feel like that had a big part of Jalen Hurts' MVP run last year with how often he was able to keep his offense on the field. I mean, everything's taken into consideration. He's a hell
Oh
of
yeah.
a football player, and he's got everything going for him. But I just think if I wasn't sure if that had gotten passed yet or not, so I just wanted to
No, you're
ask.
good. Like I said, I don't think if it didn't happen this year, if they continue to run it and be successful running it, it'll probably get talked about a little bit more next year. I don't know if it'll be passed, but I haven't heard of a play getting barred from the NFL ever in my entire life living. As far as I know, I've never heard of a play getting, you know, removed from playbooks or like you can't use that play. Um,
That's
so
nuts.
like I said, MVP is Jalen Hurts. My offensive player of the year is Patrick Mahomes. I don't think Mahomes takes a step back. I actually think the offense is better this year because now you have to adjust to Kadarius Toney, Rice, Sky Moore, MVS. You only know of two wide receivers that played a whole season in our system last year, or actually three. Sorry, with Justin Watson, MVS, and Sky Moore. You don't know about Kadarius Toney too much, and he has to stay healthy. That's a part of it. But I think Rice is going to be the biggest, the brightest part of the offense besides Travis Kelsey. And I think Pacheco takes another step up. It's not a big step, but I think it's a good step up. And I think McKinnon has 9 to 10 touchdowns as a backup again this year.
Did we re-sign
Yep.
McKinnon yet?
He did.
Yep.
He did.
He
Yeah, I
resigned
saw
on
that.
he resigned on Tuesday for a 1 year deal. I don't know the money, but it was a 1 year deal.
My boy.
Also, I don't think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be on this team before the season starts. So
I think they already released him.
they just didn't accept his 5th-year option. That's all they didn't do. So, and then for coach of the year, I do have the Jets coach being the coach of the year just because you have Aaron Rodgers. You're expected to win probably like 10 or 11 games with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know their win predictions. But Robert Saleh hasn't had he's had decent years in the Jets in New York, so I think this is the year that he finally gets some push for coach of the year. If it's not him, you could do Dan Campbell if the Detroit Lions do good again next year. And then comeback player of the year, I've got either Jonathan Taylor or Brees Hall because Jonathan Taylor got hurt at the end of the year, and I think Jonathan Taylor's going to come back for a vengeance here. I think that offensive line's going to do some damage with him. And Anthony Richardson is going to be fun to watch in that offense, even though we don't know what he's going to play like, but it's going to be fun to watch. And that's my awards, man. I can't wait to come back at the end of next year and see what they are.
That's solid. I feel like that's pretty solid, honestly.
Like the comeback player of the year is the only one that's in toss up for me because I really, you could say, Cooper Kupp, you could say Brees Hall, you could say Jonathan Taylor, you could say Calvin Ridley because he was suspended for a whole year, so we don't know how he's gonna play. So it's a matter of those things. But I felt like my picks were decent. I think.
Stupidest suspension ever.
This is.
I mean, the Detroit wasn't it the Detroit Lions that just got like a whole bunch of players got in trouble for it? They only got like 6 games.
Yeah, it was. I do remember something like that. I can't remember
Yeah,
what
but
team
so
though.
Calvin, I think it's because the amount of money that they earned is. I think that's the difference in how much the suspension was. But I could be wrong.
Mm.
But you guys can either one of you guys can start. Go ahead. However many awards you want to give, it's up to you.
I only have a couple.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I
if
only
you,
have like 2 for
That's
offense and
cool.
then defense rookie of the years. Offense, I don't want to sound like I'm sucking off the Seahawks, but I think pause. JSN is probably my offensive rookie of the year because I feel like
That's valid.
in a top 10 like passing offense yard wise, for Seattle, I feel like he's gonna get fed. I feel like he's gonna eat, and especially when you have DK and Tyler distracting teams, it's only gonna open things up for him.
Oh
So,
my God, I forgot about Tyler Lockett.
but Tyler Lockett,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh my
So I
God.
feel like he's gonna be a problem. I feel like he has like a really good chance to win it. Defense, I agree on Jalen Carter. I just feel like his job's gonna be
Easy.
easier, and so it's like it's I don't know how he could fail at getting it, but you never know. But yeah, those are 2 awards I have to give.
Sweet. What about you, Brandon?
I'm gonna be biased. I don't give a fuck. So, and I'm gonna get real honest with all of you guys that are watching the podcast too. So MVP is either gonna go to Crybaby Joe or Hurts. And
Okay.
the only reason it's not going to go to Patrick Mahomes, and I'm not trying to jump over to our next topic, but I think MV Pat is at the point of LeBron James. Like, you can't give it to him every year.
Mm.
Otherwise, people are going to start getting
Annoyed.
bored of the award shows and stuff like that. I mean, you can't give it to him every year. So I think he's starting to kind of get to that. You already see a lot of hate for Patrick Mahomes as it is. So I think we're getting to the point where it's like, okay, like we talked about Patrick for a long time. Yes, he's still doing crazy stuff with the football, crazy stuff on the field, but how about this guy over here, you know?
Let's show this guy a little bit of love.
So I personally hate all of the award shows,
That's fair.
but so that's who I've got for MVP. Super Bowl champs, I've got the Chiefs. I have to say that, at least legally, I have to say that. Offensive player of the year, I think we're going to go Justin Jefferson.
That's
Even
valid.
though
Okay,
earlier,
fair.
yes, I said Kirk Cousins, but Justin Jefferson is a crazy athlete. I mean,
One of the best wide receivers.
The
Probably
best
touch the
wide
field.
receiver to me in the game right now.
yeah.
Facts. Facts.
Defensive player of the year, I I gotta go. I know you guys are going with Philly, yada yada yada.
Mine was Nick Bosa. I forgot to say it. Mine was Nick Bosa, by the way. I think he wins it again.
Chris
Oh,
Jones. I think it's time for Sack Nation to stomp his feet and get it. I really
damn
do think.
right.
I think with all of the other factors, I think you're going to have to stop just using 2 bodies on him every time. I mean, I'm hoping that our other edge rushers are productive and they require more attention than D Ford did, or not D Ford. Well, yeah, D Ford also.
Before he
uh,
did.
Frank Clark and Karloftis. I think Karloftis takes a step this year.
Well, and that's what I was also going to say. I think Karlaftis takes a bigger step. I think he takes on more of a role. I think he's in more snaps. He's had a full season. He's gotten to watch arguably one of the best, Chris Jones, sit there and watch and try and master the craft that he puts on. Hopefully, maybe even puts on some more muscle getting into the NFL workouts versus college workouts. So hopefully he gets a little bit stronger in that category. And then like I said, our rookies, hopefully they fire off and, trying to make a name for themselves and do what they need to do and require attention to take some attention off of Chris Jones. And he just gets the damn thing done.
I like that pick. Best
And then,
defensive tackle in the game, baby.
arguably,
That's amazing.
like I said, I'm going to be completely biased. Coach of the year, Andy Reid. I don't understand how he gets looked over every season. It makes absolutely no sense to me. But I mean, him and Veach have literally put together like I don't want to be
Beautiful.
too biased.
It's beautiful is what it is. It's beautiful.
I don't want to be too biased, and we're not quite there yet to call it like a dynasty, but like we're on the road to that.
I think it's a
And
start. I think it's like we're at a starting line. It's a matter of if we get over the starting line.
we have two players still from the original Super Bowl that we won in Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey. Other than that, everything is brand new.
Well, Chris
They went
Jones
through,
too. Chris Jones.
oh, Chris Jones,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry.
There, you're good. But those are like that's the all three of your pinnacle players. You know what I mean? Like that's your best two players on offense, and that's your best player on defense. That's who you're gonna build around the entire time.
And I know putting the team together isn't always necessarily on the coach. Like you do have to give credit to Veach where credit's due, but at the same time, like the coach is the one that gets them organized, gets them going. So I just think Andy Reid, and then I guess I'm gonna have a hot take with comeback player of the year because you guys kind of shit on him earlier, but I think if Odell can stay healthy and be productive, I think Lamar can probably get him the ball.
It's a valid comment. Like I'm not like I said, by all means I'm not wishing Odell has a bad year. It's just more or less I'm going off of what you've given me the last 2-3 years of your career, and you're 30 years old now. You're off 2 ACL tears in the same knee. Yes, you played really
Well,
well in the Super Bowl. He was it, arguably if he doesn't get hurt in the Super Bowl, he's the MVP of the Super Bowl. I'm just in my whole opinion. If he keeps like if he was to never get hurt and he was to keep playing the way he was playing, Odell Beckham Jr. is going to get MVP of the Super Bowl. And I feel like that's a valid argument. Now,
well, all it takes is one freaking behind the back catch to be on
oh yeah,
everyone's radar, anyways. Because
like
if you really
Odell
think
still has
about
the
it,
name. It still has like his name still has a lot of you know oomph to it. You know what I mean?
but if we really dive deep into Odell, he didn't do that much until then, and didn't really do that much until L.A.
I mean he listen like he
That's
did like he did
valid.
well he did well on the Giants, but it wasn't. You had Eli Manning. You know what I mean? Like you weren't gonna you're gonna get your 1,000 yards every year, and yeah, basically. and so and then he went to Cleveland, and then Cleveland didn't work out. Like you know what I mean? Like he got hurt, it just didn't work. And then he gets released, and then he was supposed to go to the Cowboys, and he goes to L.A. And then this offseason again, he was supposed to go to the Cowboys. I'm glad that he went to the Ravens. Like I said, I'm glad you got your money, but nobody else in the league was offering you over $4 million. So
Not even close.
that goes to tell you like a part of like business wise, that's what they think of you. Now, if you're as healthy as you say you are and you're ready to go, I'm looking forward to watching you play football because watching Odell play football is really fun. I'm not a Ravens fan, but I'll watch a couple of games to see how he plays. But like I told my friends the other day, you just gave Lamar hundred and something $1 million guaranteed, and you gave Odell Beckham Jr. $18 million for possibly 8 to 12 games. Like, you know what I mean? It's what have you given me recently, not what have you given me overall. You know what I mean? Like with the Lamar Jackson thing. Like, I'm glad he got paid. I don't think the Ravens did not get better. Everybody and listens to this podcast and watches it when it goes up tomorrow. If you think the Ravens got better, go look at what they signed. They
They're
signed all
losing.
they signed all players that were already on their team. They were re-signed a whole bunch of like starters or role players. Your best signing was your quarterback, and then you signed Odell Beckham Jr. You had two big signings. You didn't get better. You got worse. I, or you stayed the same. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
and back to the Lamar Jackson thing. In all actuality, they paid a quarterback to be the highest paid quarterback that hasn't done anything.
he's won an MVP. That's about it. Like in the playoffs, he's it's like 1-3 or 1-4. Isn't it like So
He ain't play a full season either. So
no, and
another thing.
it makes no sense. I understand why he got his money because it's Lamar Jackson. He he is your best chance to win, right? If Lamar Jackson's not on the field, Baltimore's chances of winning are very low. I'm not gonna believe in Tyler Huntley being my starting quarterback twice, however many games a year. Even
You're
though
cold. You're cold.
even though he almost, like, I'm not saying Tyler Huntley's bad, but
He is.
if we're gonna be honest, guys, if we're gonna be honest, we're not gonna sit here and be confident in saying I want Tyler Huntley to run my quarterback all season. Come on, man. More respect to Tyler Huntley. He's played really well in certain situations, so
There's a
more power
reason
to
he's
him.
a backup.
More power to him. I don't know, the Ravens situation in general. Anybody that listens to this goddamn podcast, the Ravens did not get better. Do not believe it.
Why don't you just say who you're talking to?
No, no. They'll listen.
So that's what this was. Somebody
They're listening. I hope they're listening. We'll have a chat after the podcast
A
about
lot of emphasis on that.
Maybe tell Odell to stop fighting people on planes also.
Hey, man. It be like that sometimes. It ain't my business. It ain't my business. But with that, we're done talking about football for the evening, boys. We're gonna wrap back to it on the next podcast. Now we're gonna get into some basketball. And before we get into anything we're talking about, the goddamn Warriors are up 114-88 on the fucking Lakers. Oh my fucking goodness.
Wait, say it again.
The Lakers are down 117-88 right now. They're almost getting beat by 40.
We didn't need game 2.
No, we didn't. I didn't think we're gonna win game 2. If I'm being honest.
Before we even talk about games, can we talk about how fucking awful the refs are this playoff?
Oh my god.
The refs are terrible. And like, even as a person that was watching the Lakers game, the first game, and how it was what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Like, even though the Lakers won and I was happy, as a Lakers fan or a basketball fan, you cannot tell me that was good officiating basketball. That officiating is fucking horrible. It looks like it gets worse and worse every game to me. It's just terrible.
Scott Foster, shout out to that man.
Scott Foster. The guy that's reffing the Lakers game tonight was the ref that called the no call on Jason Tatum for smacking LeBron for the game winning layup. We're not going to talk about that though.
That was a foul, but it happened. It was a foul.
It's
alright. But Ed, they got away with calls too, so
that is true.
What it is.
It's not just that one call wasn't the only bad call. So to hop in the NBA topic, which is the one I have been looking forward to the most, we're going to talk about just each series. It's not going to be very long. Just going to talk about what you've seen, what you think is going to happen, and then at the end of every series we talk about, we're going to predict who wins. That's all we're going to do. So we're going to talk about the Denver-Phoenix series. So in my opinion, I think Denver could possibly beat this team in 5. CP3 is not going to play games 3 to 5. That's what I heard. I don't know how accurate it is because I know it's day to day now. So I understand you have Devin Booker, you got KD, but listen. The team is not deep. The team's not deep at all. Denver is extremely deep, and fuck it. I'm gonna say a hot take. Denver could low key sweep them.
I was just about to say that. I think it's gonna happen.
And
we'll
and I'm sorry, but if Phoenix gets swept, we all have to have a serious conversation about KD continuously jumping and losing. There's an issue with that.
Should have just stayed in OKC, B. Should have just stayed in OKC.
I think Denver's just too deep. Jamal Murray's playing too well. Jokic is just it's gonna be Jokic. But I think all together, Phoenix is hurt. You have Chris Paul, your best point guard on there. I'm not gonna trust Cameron Payne with the fucking ball. I'm not. And DeAndre Ayton is mid, as always. There's no reason to say otherwise. I really think Denver could fucking sweep the Suns, which is insane to say. Because I didn't at first you couldn't told me that. Now obviously barring the Chris Paul injury, say Chris Paul only misses games 3 and 4, and say they're down 3-1, it's still gonna. I think it goes 6 games at that point. But they could go. It could either be a sweep or it could go at least game 5 if Chris Paul doesn't play.
Wasn't it a groin injury?
It's a
Yeah,
it's a,
that's what I saw too. Yeah.
and so originally they said it was gonna be three to
Wait, what
five
do you mean
games.
by that?
What you mean by
I
that?
don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
What you
Yeah,
mean by
but
that?
I think they do get swept too. I kind of agree. Maybe they'll take one, but who is guarding Jokic? Like nobody's guarding KD, but like Jokic does way more for his team. So
DeAndre Ayton's not
respect
gonna
is
hold.
like
DeAndre Ayton's not holding Jokic at any point in time. I think DeAndre Ayton is the most overrated center in basketball, and that's unfortunate to say because he was a first pick. What? So you think it could be a sweep, Travy? What do you think,
yeah. I think especially with that Chris Paul news, I think is you trusting campaign to be the floor general. I don't. I won't say he's ass. He ain't ass, but he's
No,
not Chris Paul. Like,
no.
and you need Chris Paul like to distribute the ball. And KD's not like he's not about to give you like numbers like Jokic. So I don't think it's possible for them to. And they got no bench, so
It's kind
I
of
don't think they can win.
it's kind of crazy if you think about it. Chris Paul has gotten hurt in all in the last
Yo, that's a
five
great
six
point.
years. Like the last 5 6 years, Chris Paul has gotten hurt in the worst moments.
Or
Like
he's had a teammate
yeah
hurt too.
yeah they were up was it 3-1 on the Warriors when Chris
Yeah.
yeah so he got hurt and then he got hurt against the Spurs. No, he hurt against the Clippers. Sorry, against the
Yeah.
Clippers, and then he got hurt against somebody else too. It may have been the Spurs. It was the Spurs. He fucked his hamstring up against the Spurs. I remember that because he played the whole game. He played a game on it, and he dropped like 35. He won the game for him. I remember that. But
That
Chris
Clippers
Paul,
team should have had so
yeah,
many, like at least two or three chips. But
Clippers are cursed. I'm just gonna say it. Uh, but Chris, it's unfortunate because the last couple years that's been like a consistent thing with Chris Paul. Like he's gotten hurt in the playoffs. Chris Paul may never get a ring, and that's upsetting to say because I want Chris Paul to get one. So
blame
Well,
it on
he
David
also
Stern.
blame David
go
Stern.
ahead.
I said blame David Stern. That's damn right.
He also needs to he needs to recognize that hey, I can't play to the highest level the entire time and in the playoffs also. Like
He's 38. He's old.
he needs to tell the coach you know, hey, they do it all the time. I fucking hate it so much, but they do it all the time. Like sit out.
I mean I understand where you're coming from on that point. Like at the same time, I had a conversation about it with my friends when it comes the sitting out part. Like imagine you're a 10-year-old and your parents like,
No,
hey,
no, no, no. Like I said, I hate it. I don't support
oh,
it.
okay, I'm sorry.
But if it's to the point where that 10-year-old, yeah, they're gonna be upset. But like you have some players where they sit out and they don't even go to the game.
Hmm.
Go to the game, sit on the sideline. Like, no, that 10-year-old didn't get to watch you play,
At least he got to
but
see you.
that 10-year-old
Oh,
got
that's
to
a
see
great
you
point.
on the sideline. And not only that, but we teach from a very, very young age, teamwork. It's all about your team. Be there for your team. And then you see these professional athletes and being somebody that just had a kid or just brought a kid into this world. You've got players that are so full of themselves they don't even sit on the sidelines and support their team. Come on now, it's
Yeah.
trash.
When it comes to the sitting out, that's the only reason I don't agree with it because I think of it from a fan perspective. But at the same time, I'm not gonna discredit somebody for knowing their body and being like, hey, like I'm kind of hurting. Can you like sit me next game? You know, if it's like not an important game and just let me rest. Like that I understand. It's just gotten egregious. It's gotten pretty egregious
It's
nowadays.
gotten awful, absolutely awful.
You got guys getting paid $250+ million sitting on the bench 40% of your games because they just don't want to play them. Now I understand that the NBA is like a player based league. You know, the players run the league, the people upstairs don't. So I don't think that'll ever change, but it needs to be changed a little bit, just a little bit. But do you have Denver sweeping Phoenix possibly, or do you have Phoenix winning a game or two?
I do think I have a feeling they're going to win one just because I I mean all three of their starters are going to have to absolutely ball out, but
I think they steal one in Denver. I think that's the one game they win. They win one in Denver.
and even then I think it's like it's one of those games where it's like a last second shot and it's neck and neck and then a last second buzzer beater, might seal the deal. But I kind of have a hot take on Chris Paul a little bit. So
Let's hear it.
we already recognize that he's hurt playoff time whenever it matters most. Is it pressure that gets to him and he's hurt?
That's tough. It's a conversation because there are people that don't do well under pressure, and then they'll take, maybe an injury isn't as bad as it seems, but they're gonna make it seem like their brain makes it seem that way because they don't do well under the pressure.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, is it a stress thing? Like, he's so stressed. He knows he's getting old. He knows his time is expiring in the league, and he wants that ring. So he's stressed out about I need to play the best that I can, and he's still trying to play like that mid-20 Chris Paul versus hey, I'm 38 years old, pushing 40. Like,
I just
not
don't.
every
That's a
not
good take.
everyone can do that, full time.
I think Chris Paul can still play. I just don't. I think at some point you have to have a conversation with him, and be like, hey, so you're taking up a lot of these minutes. Like, we'll give you like 17, 20. Your legs will be good for the postseason. And I know it's probably gonna. You're probably gonna hate me telling you this, but like, you need to sit on the bench. Like, you don't play defense. Like, you cannot play defense anymore. If you're gonna give me some type of offense, it can be off the bench. Give me like 15, 17 points and a couple assists, and I'm straight. But it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be like if they actually try to have that conversation, it's gonna be like the Carmelo situation. Carmelo did not want to sit on the bench. Carmelo refused to sit on the bench for a couple years, and then after a while, he finally got talked into it because I'm sure somebody was like, "Dude, you're like 38 years old. You cannot start anymore. It's been shown you can't start anymore. Just stop doing it. Stop fighting for it." I don't now. Is it gonna happen to Chris Paul? I don't think so. But it's on the table. You know what I mean? Like it's a conversation that you can have possibly next year if they get swept and Chris Paul stays on the Suns. So
Well, and Game Three is honestly a must-win for the Suns. If they don't win Game Three, they're getting swept, in my opinion.
KD has to have. I don't know if it's. I mean, do you think it?
40
Do you,
minimum.
do you
And
think?
his
Do you think?
40
Do you
minimum.
think? Oh, you think KD has to score 40 minimum game 3?
Minimum.
What about Devin Booker?
He's going to have to
30.
at least 25, 30
Okay,
minimum.
so here's another conversation because we always kind of, when it comes to Kevin Durant, I don't know if you guys agree, but was it 3 rings or was it 2 rings in Golden State? It was 3, right?
3.
So he won.
Fraud.
He okay. So can we all agree that those rings realistically do not mean anything? They don't.
Mm,
I hate Kevin Durant just as much as the next guy. Or I know he has fans out there, but you can't say that a ring means absolutely nothing.
I'm not saying it doesn't mean nothing, but it's like the way that he did the whole thing is frowned upon. Like
yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
like you were up 3-1 on a Warriors team. They beat you, and then you're like, "Fuck that! I'm gonna go join the team that beat me. And
He was the reason that they technically lost.
yeah, so that's
So,
that's the only thing. I mean, if you say Kevin Durant's got to have 40 minimum, I want to hear what Devin Booker has to have minimum. Because we cannot have a conversation of what went wrong with the Suns if Devin Booker isn't in the conversation. I understand Devin Booker is scoring 35 plus a game, but if it's not working, there's something else wrong. We can't put what I'm trying to say is we can't put it all on Kevin Durant. We just can't. As much as the media probably will want to, you cannot put it all on Kevin Durant. So we have to. That's why I'm asking you. Well, what do you think Devin Booker has to do in Game
I'm
3?
sticking, I'm sticking with 30.
25-30.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. We'll see. If they get swept, I won't be surprised, but I also won't be surprised if Phoenix takes one or two of them. But I have Denver winning the series in general. Um, Now we unfortunately have to talk about the Lakers series, which live right now the Lakers are getting their fucking ass beat. Which
I was gonna
I
say you talked about
How much?
Chris
How much
Paul.
Curry got?
so Curry has. I'll tell you in just a second. Um, I don't. So with we're gonna talk about the Lakers Warriors series. So personally, I have the Warriors possibly getting 2 games out of LA. Like they win 2 games, but I think it goes to 6, and the Lakers win in 6. That's what I think happens. So
Okay.
I think since we stole one, Stephen Curry has 20 points and 12 assists.
Who the hell did all the scoring?
Yeah. So we snuck one out in Golden State. I think they sneak one out in LA. I think we win Game 3, they win Game 4, and then I think we win out. I think we win again in Golden State, and then they win the series back home in LA for Game 6. Um, or it might be the other way around. I could be wrong. They either way they're either winning in Golden State or they're winning in LA for Game 6. I can't remember uh if they're home or not in Game 6. I could be wrong.
I think Game 6 is home.
Is it? Okay. Uh, so the whole if I'm gonna be honest with you, the only reason that the Warriors could win this series is if AD just disappears the next 4 games. If AD disappears, it's the Lakers lose, in my opinion, because without AD playing well, it's not winnable. I'm not gonna count on D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves giving me 25 consistently every game for 4 games. Like D'Lo's been playing really well this series. I'm actually surprised that D'Lo's been playing really well. Um, Austin Reeves, he's playing well, but he's um it's like nothing crazy. But Austin Reeves is basically being Austin Reeves. LeBron's playing more off ball, most off ball I've seen in a long time, and it's working. Obviously, it didn't work for Game 2, which is understandable.
27 points. Damn, lost. Tough.
Uh, but I think it's good for LeBron to play off ball because it keeps him fresh for the end of the games and stuff like that. Um, I think everybody in the world will tell you this whole series relies on all AD, and I hate saying that because it shouldn't be all on AD, but that's what you kind of signed up for when you got traded here. The team was eventually supposed to be his. He's supposed to run the show, not LeBron. You know what I mean? That's what the whole plan was. So I have them winning in 6. Like I said, I think the Warriors take one in LA, but they win in LA. I think they win the series in LA and they go play Denver. So if you guys disagree, do you guys have them winning in less games? Do you guys have them winning in? Does it go 7? What happens?
Mm, I think not. Oh, I think it goes 7. I ain't gonna lie. But I think I agree on the AD situation. I just feel like he's doing too well, and for him to be able to put up 20 boards with 30 is
It's nuts.
it's
It's nuts.
crazy. The fact that he could do that is like that shit's wild. Obviously, you got Curry on the other side, but it's like I don't know. I just feel like the Lakers might edge it out in like 7, and LeBron's kind of on like cruise control. He think that people don't know, but we know he ain't really going crazy like that. Like he does this purposely. Like over the past 2 years now, like he'll just cruise in the regular season. This is what Chris Paul should be taking notes. He'd be cruising through
Low
regular
key.
season, and then when playoff time comes, that's when he'll kick up if he needs. So
Uh,
I think Lakers win in 7.
Lakers at 7. Okay, it's a valid argument. Like I said, because the Warriors, listen, the Warriors are not bums, but by all means, but it could go 7. I could say it goes 7. I'm not gonna disagree with you. What about you, Brandon?
I also think it goes 7, with the Lakers winning, and I think the reason being, I think you're going to see AD is going to have an off game. He's not going to be able to do what he did game 1 or what he did tonight repeatedly. Like he needs to win the series, but I do think they're going to sneak a couple. Um,
Go ahead. Sorry. Sorry.
I do think that Golden State's going to probably sneak a couple on them
Well,
because, like you said, they're not bums.
if we're gonna since we're gonna keep talking about them, since the game is over, the score was 127 to 100. Golden State won. This is the box score. This is the Lakers. This is the Lakers stats for the night. So AD played 33 minutes. He was 5 of 11 from the field. He had 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and he only had 11 points.
So there's exactly what I was talking
11
about.
points. Jared Vanderbilt had 6. LeBron had 23 points and 1 steal, 3 assists, 7 rees. No turnovers. AD had 4 turnovers tonight. D'Angelo Russell had 10 points, 8 assists, turnovers, and 1 rebound, 1 steal. Austin Reeves had 7 points. He was 3 for 11 from the field. He had 4 rebounds, 2 turnovers. Rui Hachimura had 21 points off the bench tonight.
So
Everybody else, Malik Beasley had 2. Dennis Schroeder had 4. And Tristan Thompson got time apparently and got 5. And
Well, fuck, they were down by 40. I'd
yeah,
throw in the kitchen sink to try and stop something.
yeah, the whole team played tonight. The whole team played tonight. Shaq Harrison even got time. Lonnie Walker got minutes. He got 9 points in 12 minutes. I don't know why. I don't know why Mo Bamba and Lonnie Walker are not getting minutes, but it's fucking stupid. And I don't know what Darvin Ham is doing when it comes to those two guys, but other than that, I don't have anything to complain. But so that now we're gonna jump into Golden State stats, and it looks like it's total power. Draymond Green had 11 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. Almost had a triple double tonight. JaMychal Green started, but he only got 13 minutes. He had 15 points in 13 minutes.
damn.
Andrew Wiggins only had 11 points. He was 3 for 8 from the field. He had 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Steph Curry had 4 rebounds, 12 assists, and 20 points with 3 turnovers. Klay Thompson had a big game tonight, 11 of 18 and 8 of 11 from 3 with 30 points, 1 assist, and 3 rebounds. Sweet.
It's a Clay day. That's crazy.
It was a Klay day. The team shot altogether 50% from the field, 50% from 3, 62% from free throw. Lakers tonight shot 42% from the field and 29.4% from 3.
There it is.
I think that if it goes 6 games, I think this is the bad game AD has. I hope this is the one bad game AD has because they played small tonight, and JaMychal Green should not be holding Anthony Davis to 11 points. That's just not.
15 points in 13 minutes, kind of crazy. I
That
ain't gonna
is
lie.
crazy. That is kind of nuts. Michael Green he was 6 for 9 from the field and 3 for 6 from three. That's nuts. That's such a Michael Green. But yeah, so they just lost. So like I said,
The pain.
He said, so yeah, they just lost.
it's so weird because like it happened in the Memphis series too. Like AD had a really good game, but LeBron was really bad that game. They lost, and then LeBron has a good game and AD has a bad game. So
Yeah, that's what I have in my notes. That I know you guys have both said that AD has to ball out, but I have AD has to ball out and LeBron also. Like they have to ball out together.
it has to be consistent. They have to.
Kind of similar to the situation with KD and Booker. I mean,
Mm.
they need both of them to show up and show out.
So, like I said, they'll bounce back from it. Hopefully, get the dub on Saturday. Now we're gonna jump into one of the series that I think is gonna go 7 games, and I think it's Philly Boston. I think Philly Boston goes 7. It's tied 1-1. First game, James Harden came back from 2016 in Houston and decided to drop 45 points on Philly in the first game. Then Boston came out and just dominated Philly the second game. Jason Tatum only had 7 points, and they won very dominantly. That is scary as hell if you are a basketball fan on the side. Um, I don't think Harden has a game like that again. Period. I don't think we're going to see another game like that out of James Harden all playoffs. Um, you know, Joel Embiid is back. He's healthy, so we'll see how it goes. He did get MVP. I expect it to go 7 only because I think Boston will give up a game or two in Philly. That's like not bad. Like they won't beat him really badly, but it won't be nearly as close. Then game 7, I hate to tell you, Travy, I have Philly coming out in 7.
I remember that.
I think Joel Embiid last game shows why he won MVP, and I think Joel Embiid has a dominant stat line. The last 2 games of the series shows why he was MVP. But I won't say Boston can't win it, but I do have Philly. I have Philly winning the series in 7. So with that, I will roll into Travy, the Boston Celtics fan. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
The big C's. The big
Know the
C's.
vibes. Know the vibes. So, I think the biggest thing, I ain't gonna lie, yeah, Harden got his points, but I feel like the focus got to be more on stopping him compared to Embiid, because Embiid's gonna get his. I'm already accepting that, but
That's
like
fair.
stopping Harden's like more important to me because I feel like it'll be less work for him to score. It'll be tough for him to score, but it'll be less work than Embiid, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
Embiid's gonna
they ain't,
have an easier time scoring.
yeah, they're not gonna let Embiid eat down low all that often.
Yeah, but I got Boston in 6. No bias, no bias. But yeah, I just don't like just showing that they could lose by 30 and JT only scores 7 should pretty much tell you like it's a problem. Like, and Boston got a deep bench, so not gonna lie, I feel like Philly should be worried.
That's fair.
Me personally.
Fair. What about you, Brandon? What do you think?
I have the same thing. I have Boston in 6. I think they just showed utter domination, especially in that third quarter with the 35-16 run that they went on in the third quarter. So um, I think it was the coach that was asked after the game, and he said that they were angry and pissed. And so, I mean, if they just stay angry and pissed the entire series, then they can go ahead and just wrap it on up. Um, I do think they'll probably get one. Like you said, Embiid is MVP for a reason. He's going to get his touches for sure. Um, but yeah, no, I take Boston. Boston in 6.
Okay. And I don't have a problem with any of what you guys said. Like I do, like I said, all personal reason, I have Philly winning a 7 because I really like Joel Embiid. I like Joel Embiid more than Jokic. I think Joel Embiid is better defensively than Jokic, in my opinion. But um, it's an interesting series. It's good basketball. Um, I look forward to watching it. If it goes six, Boston wins. If Boston wins in six, if Boston wins in six, and Denver doesn't get to the finals, Boston wins the NBA championship. That's my take for the year. That's my take.
One more thing with the Celtics. You saw in game two, the 76ers, they were so flustered by the amount of defense that Boston was playing. I
Boston
mean,
Boston
they
plays
were
hounding
playing.
defense when they want to. It's insane. It's scary.
So if they can, like I said, if they can play angry and pissed, and if that's what comes with the defense that they brought out, then they're going to be a very good team and a very hard team to beat.
I will say, like I said, I know I said Joel Embiid is gonna have a big game, but I think Jason Tatum comes out game 4. I'm gonna say game 4, and he's gonna have 35 plus. I think JT comes out game 4 ready to. So like let's say it's 3-1 for game 5, right? I guess I think say for some reason Boston just starts lighting Philly up, right? And they make it 3-1. They're not gonna take it to 7 games. Is it who's it gonna more or less be on to be successful in the NBA championship, Travy? Is it gonna be Jaylen Brown, Jason? Or is it gonna fall on Jason Tatum more?
I think it's 100% Jason because I feel like Jason was like mainly the reason why Boston fell short last year, and JB's already been proving like, and they better resign him too because I'm gonna be if I'm on here again on this pod, you're gonna see me tweaking that he don't get resigned. But JB's fighting and JT's if JT shows up and everybody else is consistent, it's like a really good chance they could do good and get to the finals again. So hopefully with a victory this year, but I think it's falling more on JT because JB's been doing way more than expected by a lot of people. So
Sweet. Yeah, like I said, I think if the Boston Celtics beat Philly, they win the NBA championship. But it's only if Denver doesn't get to the finals. If Denver gets to the finals, I have Denver beating Boston, but it'll be 7 games. I think it goes 7 games because Denver and Boston are so deep bench wise. It'd be such an even keel basketball series. Um, with that, talking about even keel basketball series, we're gonna go into Miami versus New York. So we know that Jimmy Butler didn't play game 2, and the Knicks won. Obviously, Jimmy Butler has just been on fire all postseason, and
Averaging 36 points a game.
it's I don't know what got into Jimmy Butler, but I'm here for it. It's
It's the
it's fun.
fire on the heat symbol.
It's
nah,
it,
he's him.
it's fun to watch. I genuinely enjoy watching it. It's for some reason when Jimmy Butler gets in the playoffs, he wants to absolutely torch you, which I'm here for. Um, when do they play again next? Is it Monday or is it Sunday? Monday. Trying to find the last game that they played. Was it Tuesday?
We're kind of seeing Jimmy Butler from Chicago, in my opinion. You're seeing that.
You could say that. I don't know. I think Jimmy in Miami's better than Jimmy in
I
Chicago.
do think, but
Okay.
he was kind of, you know,
Yeah, towards the end of Chicago, it wasn't the greatest. I think his best year he had was the bubble year in Miami, the first year that he was there. I think that was his best year so far. But it's 1-1 right now. New York looked really good on was it? It was Tuesday. Yeah, it was Tuesday. They looked good on Tuesday, but when I watched the game, there was a lot of times that both teams were playing some really sloppy ass basketball, really sloppy ass basketball. Um, you know, I think for me, the biggest issue I have in this whole series is Bam Adebayo just absolutely disappearing for the playoffs
Mm.
again. So, the last game he played 38 minutes, he had 15 points and 8 rees. That's serviceable, yes, but they're not paying him to be serviceable. They're paying him
Yeah.
to be a star. They he just need for in all overall opinion, he needs to just play better. And if he doesn't play any better, I don't think he's on the team next year because if they lose a series, it's honestly, and I hate the fact that we have to say it, but the media is going to put it on Bam Adebayo because he's the outlet of the team because he's been playing the worst. It'd be different if Jimmy and Bam Adebayo were playing badly and, you put the blame on both of them. But, you got the New York Knicks game. Kevin Love had 8 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist. Cody Martin had 22, 1 assist, 8 rebounds. And then Adebayo had 15 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. So not a bad game by all means, just not what he's supposed to be playing up to the standards. Vincent had 21 points with 5 assists, 2 rebounds. And Struss had 17, 1 and 1. Their bench was absolutely non-existent. That it was 9 points, 5 points, 2 points, 6 points. Kyle Lowry was 3 for 9 from the field, played 31 minutes. Um, Overall, it just wasn't a good game for. It was the first game without Jimmy Butler, so I don't think they were expected to win. They were in the game for a little bit at some point, and then New York just kind of started rolling with the punches. The biggest part about this game was Jalen Brunson having 30 points. Jalen Brunson just needs to consistently show up, and New York will win. But I think this whole series goes 7 games. I think they're too even of teams, but they only go 7 games if Jimmy Butler plays. If he doesn't come back next game, then and if he doesn't come back next game and they don't win, it's over. It's over. Knicks are
He's
gonna win.
supposed to be back.
Okay, that's good. Um, but they got Julius Randle at 25, 8 assists, 12 rebounds, almost had a triple double. Jalen Brunson had 30 points, 2 assists, 5 rees, 2 steals. Josh Hart had 14, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. And R.J. Barrett came out of nowhere and gave us 24, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists, and was 8 of 17 from the floor and 3 of 9 from the three. So the ball was just going in the hoop. Their bench didn't really do anything. Obi Toppin was 0 for 2 from the field. He had 0 points. Harnstein played 26 minutes, only had 3 points. Quickly played 9 minutes, had 6 points. And Grimes
Man,
played.
what a bust on Quickly. There was so much hype. There was so much hype built up to that for him to be shooting like 30%.
It's something. It's bad. I don't know how it's gotten that bad, but it is. I don't know why Derrick Rose isn't playing. I'd like to know why. I don't know why he's a does not a DMP coach decision. It makes no sense for me.
Probably low management. I don't know though.
He hasn't. I don't think he's played all playoffs. If I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken. So I don't know what the deal is for that whole situation. But I have, like I said, I have it going in 7, but it's only if Jimmy Butler comes back and plays well. If he comes back and he plays like he's hurting and he can't really do too much, then I have New York winning in 6, but it's 7 if Jimmy comes back and is healthy and plays well. So, with that, I'll pass it on to Travy and see what he's got to say.
Uh, I agree with you on that series being like one of the closest.
It's fun to
Um,
watch. It really is fun to watch, I will say.
yeah, the Heat. The good thing I'll say about the Heat is like they're one of the more like annoying teams to play because they kind of like slow you down in a sense, like pace wise. So they're
They get
annoying to deal with that way. And
they get
I
hot
think
too.
it goes 7-2. No, they definitely do get out. If they shoot well, like they're annoying to play against. I have it going 7-2, but I do have it going to Miami. But I feel like it's gonna be a grind. Like I said, like um they can slow down the pace, so I don't feel like there's one person on the Knicks that I don't feel like would be as consistent as probably Julius Randle. I think Jalen Brunson's probably gonna be like the best player in the series, and like you said, Jimmy just he got to play. If he plays, I think that he got a really good chance. But I think it goes 7-2. But we'll see
Julius
what happens.
Julius Randle is one of the more inconsistent players in the NBA. I remember the
Yeah.
first game that I watched, and he shot this shot in the corner, boys, and that motherfucker hit the top of the backboard. I said, "Oh God, oh God." what is going on out here. And then I couldn't laugh too hard because I've done the same in my 3 minutes I played in high school basketball. Can't tell me shit.
Oh shit.
Fuck all you guys. You know what? Everybody was yelling, take the shot. I took it. I didn't even touch the rim. Fuck y'all.
You didn't touch a damn thing.
Yeah,
Not
That's
anything.
crazy.
it's fine.
The worst
We-
air ball.
We
I
won't
think
talk
ever.
about that chat. We don't want to talk about that chat. We won't talk about it. We won't talk about it.
No, we need to talk about it. That was
Yes, we
terrible.
need to talk about it. Nah, Toby held me out of 2 points though. That motherfucker threw me a bad pass on a fast break, and I could have laid the ball up, but he fucking missed through it. I remember that for the rest of my life, Toby. That's 2 points I could have got. Can't tell me shit. It was a free layup. I could have got the layup.
You were wide open in the corner for the three and missed.
I'm not a shooter, man. I'm not a shooter.
Apparently, you're not a pass catcher either.
Hey, hey,
Oh no.
hey.
I'm just kidding, dude.
I'm Baby Marshawn, man. I'm Baby Marshawn. I don't need to catch no passes. I'm Baby Marshawn. You can't stop me with a ball in my hands. Respect to all the people that played turf football back in 8th grade. I remember that. Shout out to all you guys. What about you, Brandon? What do you got this series going to? And what do you think's gonna happen?
And it's so, like you guys said, it's so back and forth. They're both good teams, but not great. If that makes sense. Like
I didn't think the Knicks were that good until I started watching the playoffs. I was like, all right. I didn't know Jalen Brunson was really like that until I started watching him a little bit more in the playoffs.
And I think they're literally just going to go back and forth. Like the Heat's going to have a really good game, and then the Heat's not going to have a good game, and the Knicks will. And it's just going to go back and forth. But I want Miami to come out on top, so that's who I'm going to go with coming out in Game 7, just because.
How different of a team do you think they are if Tyler Hero didn't get hurt?
I think it definitely spreads the floor a lot more. I think, like you guys said, they control the pace already, but I think Tyler Hero definitely spreads the floor a lot more and takes a lot of the workload off of Jimmy Butler.
It's really unfortunate that he got hurt, bro. He's gotten hurt the past two postseasons, hasn't he? Is it just was it did he get hurt last year?
He was hurt, yeah. It wasn't as late into the season, but he was hurt, yeah.
Okay.
Previously already.
He's got a fractured left hand. Is that right?
Yes, he's out. I think he's out for the whole rest of the playoffs. Like, even if they go to the finals, yeah. So that's unfortunate. I think Miami plays totally different. Like, I agree with you, Brandon. I think they're totally different with Tyler Hero on the floor. Realistically, Miami could win it in 6 if Tyler Hero was on the floor. I could say that. I could confidently say that.
I would almost even beg to say that it might also be a sweep if Tyler Hero was on the floor. That might be a little bit of a hot take, but I think that, like I said, I think a lot of the load management of Jimmy Butler with Tyler Hero not being on the field really I think very well could have caused, Jimmy Butler to get hurt in the first place. He was taking on a very big role.
Oh, yeah.
And was asked to do a lot more than really what he should have had to do had their entire team been healthy.
I don't know. Either way, how I feel about it, whoever comes out of this series is going to get badly beaten by either Philly or Boston. If it's Boston versus Miami, it's bad. Miami's gonna get beat bad. I don't care how much Jimmy Butler gives me. They're only probably gonna win like one game. And now if it's Boston versus New York, Boston wins in 5 as well.
I hate playing when those two play. I ain't gonna lie, because New York just all of a sudden they want to play like they're the best team in the league every time they play Boston for some reason.
Well, my hot take is that Boston wins that in 5 if it's New York and Boston. I could see Boston and it kind of adheres to what Brandon says. If they continue to play pissed off, angry, we're just gonna fucking beat you to death in basketball. We're gonna run up and down this court and do everything we can to possibly win this game. Then they're gonna they're gonna beat they'd beat Miami and New York in 5 games, in my
Well,
opinion.
they're also playing. Boston's also playing very physical.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And you have to play physical with Joel Embiid. And if you play physical, I feel like if you play physical defense against James Harden, he's gonna be out of the game by third quarter because he's tired as hell. You can't keep doing that shit by now. He's out of it. Sweet. Okay.
One more thing with Miami. I read this crazy stat earlier. So they've had 7 playoff games total, and they've had this is last game was their 4th different starting lineup of the
Jesus.
entire playoffs.
It's
That
that's nuts.
that's another reason of why I'm taking Miami. They've shown that they can play with the
Multiple lineups.
anyone on the floor. They're gonna find some way to possibly get it done. So
Oh
I
yeah.
think
It
they're
it's
gonna do
also you also have to give a lot of respect to Eric Spoelstra for that too. Eric Spoelstra is hands down one of the best NBA coaches that we've like. You can say that he's one of the best head coaches in the league in the last couple of years. He's been the most consistent. Eric Spoelstra doesn't lose very often. You know what I mean? Like, yes, they're the 8th seed in the playoffs, but they're playing the 4th seed right now. You know what I mean? So that's awesome. So all I'm saying is give some respect to Eric Spoelstra because back in the day when it was LeBron, Dwayne, and Chris, Eric Spoelstra didn't get a lot of that credit, but Eric Spoelstra ran a lot of that team and it did really well. So I will always have a big respect for Eric Spoelstra.
good old Chris Bosh.
Little Chris Bosh. Shout out to him beyond Toronto. He was really really good back
He
then.
was balling.
Um, So we are at the end of the podcast. I'm gonna ask you one question before we go, and it's gonna have to do with basketball still. So recently, I have stumbled upon a free agency list that's gonna come out next year. These are the free agents that are going to be um, in the NBA, and I'm just gonna tell you the who the biggest free agent is to me and where I think they're gonna go. And I'm just gonna pick one person. We're also gonna pick one person. They're gonna give me an idea where they could possibly go and how much money they're gonna sign for. So this off season, I don't think it's going to be um, a surprise that this happens. Um, I think the Lakers go after Kyrie Irving and sign him to a 2-year, we'll say 110. I think they signed 2-year 110. We'll give Kyrie, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis on the floor. And I'm not gonna say how I think it's gonna work because I think LeBron will make it work because LeBron's dealt with Kyrie Irving before, even though Kyrie Irving wasn't really who he is now as he was back then, as far as I know. I don't remember Kyrie Irving being all that stuck out all the time back in the day in Cleveland. But I think the Lakers sign Kyrie Irving, they let D'Lo go, and I also think Austin Reeves comes back. I hope, I pray to God, Austin Reeves comes back. Please, please, please. And that's my big one. I can tell you some big names if you guys want me to, because I know not everybody is interested in free agency. But Klay Thompson is a free agent. You've got Kyrie Irving is a free agent. Buddy Hield's a free agent. Um, D'Angelo Russell is, Austin Reeves is, Rui Hachimura is. Um, I think a person who is not going to be signed on the team, unfortunately, and it's not because I dislike this guy or anything, but I think Dylan Brooks has unfortunately been what's the word? Um,
Sanctioned.
he's been sanctioned out of the NBA now because of the amount of talking he did. Because people have to okay, Dylan Brooks is a very mid basketball player. He doesn't have a lot of athletic ability. He gives you defense, and he chirps a lot. But offensively, that jumper is about as broke as mine is. So,
Is it though?
and you know,
No.
I can make some now, y'all. Let's relax now. but they've stop. I can make some. I can make some now. God damn it. So it's unfortunate he's probably gonna be exiled from the league, and I wish him the best. I hope he doesn't get exiled. I hope he somebody at least gives him some money and some time on a court. I'm not gonna say somebody doesn't deserve that. Um,
Get him out of here.
you have Chris Middleton, Brooke Lopez, um, Anthony Edwards. Not this coming year, but the next year, next free agency, is gonna be a free agent. You have Josh Hart, who is probably going to be a decent name because he's been playing really well in the postseason. Um, that's really all big names, really. I mean, James Harden, but it's a player. It's a player option, and
Yeah.
knowing James Harden, he's probably going to take that player option because it's probably worth a lot more money than he's going to get. Um, yeah, I mean that's really. I think Kyrie Irving goes up to L.A. I think the Memphis move, or sorry, not the Memphis move, the Dallas Mavericks move, was just to get out of Brooklyn and get away from KD. I don't think he really cared where he went. I think he wanted to go to LA, but I think he knew that the league wasn't going to let that happen. The teams that were trading weren't going to let that happen, no matter how hard the Lakers tried. Um, and yeah, that's my big one. I think the only other big one I'd say would Klay Thompson, and I couldn't tell you where Klay Thompson goes. I think he most likely will stay and get paid a lot of money that I don't know how the Warriors have, but more power to him. Uh, but with that, Brandon, who's a free agent you think is going to be a big signing somewhere? It doesn't even have to be a big player. It could be one of the regular guys I named off, like Josh Hart. He could go get good money somewhere and be a solid starter and give you solid minutes and etc. So it doesn't have to necessarily be a star.
Well, I don't want to just copy exactly what you said, but I would like Kyrie to come to LA, but I also think that could be a terrible idea.
And
So
it
I'm
and it
I'm
could
kind of
be. It
I'm
could be.
kind of like up on the fence with it because he didn't want to play. He wanted to be the star of the team.
Hmm.
So him and LeBron split ways. That hasn't worked out for him. He's gotten in all of the other stuff that you've seen off the court or on the court issues, and LeBron's always kind of he's always kind of backed him up. He's always been like, you know, supported him
Right.
or vice versa. So I don't know if maybe Kyrie just maybe he needs that leadership or
I don't
that
think. I just don't. I don't think. I don't think he says he wants to be the leader, but I don't think he actually wants to. I don't think he's wanted. I don't think he's wanted to be the leader since the Celtics, and I think he should have won one on the Celtics. Respectfully, the the fact that he didn't win one with the Celtics is kind of um, uh, a shortcoming on his career. You know what I mean? Because see, the Celtics were supposed to. They were projected to win a championship or at least get to the finals 1 year with him. I think
yeah.
I think I was a. Was
That
that
was Miami. Uh, I'm pretty sure that was when Miami was causing problems too.
Yes, I believe so. Um, so I think when it comes, if Kyrie Irving was to go to the Lakers, I think I think LeBron has a talk with him and be like, dude, just play basketball. Don't really do all the other dumb shit. Like just what I'm saying, if you want to do all that stuff, just don't make it a problem on the team. Don't cause drama. Because that's for the last couple years, that's what seems to be following Kyrie Irving is just drama. And the only person that it's ever worked with is LeBron James. It didn't work with Kevin Durant. It didn't work with James Harden. It didn't work with Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, Marcus Smart. It only worked with LeBron James. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I'm saying? So just go back to LeBron, go get you another one, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. What about you, Travy? What's a big free agent you think's gonna go somewhere?
All right, so I ain't gonna pick the same, but I think a big key for that Irvin signing is if the Lakers lose to the Warriors. If they lose to the Warriors, then I think the chances is higher
Mhm.
to go get Kyrie because him and LeBron, when they was back in Cleveland,
He could.
they they they
Ugh.
that finals was crazy. I ain't gonna lie. So I feel like they're gonna go grab him, scoop him up. Then they're gonna have the answer for Golden State next time they play. But I think another like signing that people probably won't expect is Russell Westbrook. I think he's gonna resign with the Clippers. I feel like he likes it there, but the whole PG getting hurt was whack for anyone that likes sports in general. But the whole Kawhi and PG thing, I don't know what's gonna happen with that. But I think Russell Westbrook resigns. I think that's like the biggest one based
I
on all like the free agents out.
and I'm glad. Russell Westbrook found a home
Yeah.
there. Because it's more or less like Russell Westbrook didn't play well for the Lakers, and it was very frustrating to watch. But I'm proud of that. He went to a different situation and excelled in the situation. You know what I mean? It's just unfortunate that his teammates get hurt every postseason. So it's not his fault. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what his contract will be. I don't know if he won't get a max, but he'll probably get good money. He'll get
Yeah.
good money. It's
He is a
it's
freak of an athlete.
yeah. It's probably gonna be over. It's at least over 100. It's not. I don't think it's past 150 though. If it's past, if Russell Westbrook gets past 150 million dollars, his agent is God sent, and he needs to give his agent a fucking raise.
He just give his agent 50 of it.
Shit. Uh, I think one more player that I would like to look out for. I don't know where he's going to sign per se, but I think Jordan Clarkson's going to get paid if he doesn't take his
Oh
player
yeah,
option.
yeah.
Because he has
Oh
a
yeah.
player option,
So,
and I'm sure he. I don't know if he wants to play in Utah, because Utah was good at the beginning of the season. Then they even keeled themselves out. But I think Jordan Clarkson gets a bag somewhere. I just don't know where. I think, in all honesty, if it's about winning for Jordan Clarkson, he goes. Ooh, I think Jordan Clarkson stays in the East, and he goes to. Oh, fuck. Oh, he's not gonna stay in the East. Sorry, He's gonna go to the East, and he's going to go. I think the Knicks could could swap him and Josh Hart if they don't want to pay Josh Hart. I could see that. I could see that.
mm,
Maybe. The offseason will be interesting. I feel like, do you guys prefer the NFL offseason or the NBA offseason?
NFL.
NFL. Yeah.
The NFL, I feel like the NFL is more. It's not necessarily like more wild, but it just I feel like a lot more happens in the offseason for football.
I feel like for NFL, it's a lot more cut and dry.
Oh
Also,
yeah.
like it's a lot more. Whereas in like NBA, players are moving everywhere.
Well, it's because the NFL isn't ran by their players. It's ran by
Yeah.
right.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that, but I'm just saying,
Oh yeah. No. Yeah.
as a viewer or as a consumer, I find it more enjoyable for the simple fact of it's a lot easier to follow.
Sweet. That's fair. It's not a. I don't know. I feel like the NBA offseason, as soon as it starts, it's like it's kind of over. You know what I mean? Like all the big contracts are already out of the way by the end of the first night. I feel like so. That's fair. I could see that. There's a lot more drama with the NFL offseason. I feel like there's always a
Mm.
lot going. Like the whole Lamar Jackson went on for like 2.5 months. That's all they talked about on TV.
That was all to talk about, Loki.
Um,
Where's Where's Hopkins going?
I don't think I don't think I
That's-
don't think Hopkins is leaving. I don't think he's gonna leave because he posted a video on his socials the other day saying, "Y'all thought I was gonna leave. I ain't leaving." And then it was him at a workout. So who
But
knows?
he also posted something that said, "Why do you guys all keep telling me to stay?"
That whole situation is just messed up, dude. I think the Cardinals organization is in absolute shambles. I think they're gonna be a bad team for a long time, and I feel bad for Kyler Murray, but at least he got paid. So
Yeah, they've got
Yo,
four.
they don't even get, they gotta pay for their meals like at the center. That's crazy to me.
at the
That shit's
at the
wild. Yeah,
Cardinals
that's what
Center.
I heard.
They gotta pay for it.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
nah. Why? Nah. I'm a. I'm sorry, and maybe it's just the ignorant part of me. But if I'm getting paid millions of dollars, motherfucker, I should not have to pay for my goddamn meal in my workplace now.
It's wild.
It's insane. I don't know. The Cardinals are in a bad situation. Honestly, if the Cardinals, this is my hot take for the NFL next year. If the Cardinals do really bad this year, they trade up to get the first or second pick, and they get Caleb Williams or the North Carolina quarterback next year. Because I also think the Commanders are going to do the same thing. They're going to trade up for a quarterback next year, and they're either going to get the guy to North Carolina or they're going to get Caleb Williams. Because Washington's desperate. Plus, they just sold their entire team, so it's no longer under Dan Snyder. Even though Dan Snyder just got paid like $7 billion fucking dollars, so I think those two teams will be desperate. Um, one more thing, I have one question from the chat. This is the last one. Do you guys think the Warriors are going to stay together after this offseason? And I am going to wholeheartedly say Draymond is not going to be on this team next year. I think he absolutely killed all the chemistry between him and some of the young guys because he decked Jordan Poole in the face and knocked him out cold.
It was on purpose.
And it
Don't
was on
believe the
purpose.
hype.
Yeah, it was on purpose. It was if you watch that video more than once, it was on purpose. That he full-fledged punched him in the face on purpose. So I think Draymond Green is gone, and honestly, I'm not paying 34-year-old Draymond Green over $150 million to just play defense and give me 9 points a game. You can kiss my ass. I'm sorry.
You know where he want to go, right?
No, don't say it,
Low
Travis.
key, low key. You know where he want to go.
Don't say it, Travis. I don't want
You
him
know
there.
where he want to
I don't
go.
want him there. I don't want him there.
Lake
No, dude.
Show.
Don't. Rob Palinka. Please. Rob Palinka, don't fall for that shit. Pay
Yo, you
Austin
spent the
Reeves.
whole summer with LeBron last year.
Pay
You know where he want to
Austin.
go.
Pay Austin Reeves first. Pay him first. Get everybody back that needs to come back first. Because after this upcoming year, LeBron and AD are free agents. They're both free agents, so they could both leave because that's the year that LeBron's son is supposed to be in the draft and coming to the
Right.
NBA. So the Lakers, low key, might be not the Lakers in the next 2 years. They could be a whole different team. So we'll definitely see. Um, but with that, guys, we're done with the podcast, man. I appreciate you guys coming on here. Brandon.
Yeah, don't worry. I didn't want to answer it anyways, Levi. It's
Oh,
fine.
my bad. Sorry.
The
Go ahead.
Warriors stand.
I hope not.
You hope
Go ahead.
not?
I hope not. I'm so tired of the Warriors, and that could be being a Lakers fan. That very well could be some of it.
I think it's
But
just being a LeBron fan. We're tired of the Warriors.
I think the Warriors are dirty. I think they're a dirty team. I think Draymond leads a lot of that in the sense of I think he's a dirty player, and I think it just rubs off on other players to just play dirty.
If you go back and watch the first game, it's because the officiating is really bad. But the Warriors are. I mean, just you could tell how frustrated they were the entire game with the refs. I thought Draymond was gonna get tossed because he went up to it was like the third quarter, and it was a charge call. You know what I'm talking about?
We were watching that together.
Yeah, and Draymond like went up to the ref. He's like, "What the fuck kind of call is that?" He's like, "That fucking call is fucking terrible." And I was like, "Damn, like you're gonna get thrown out, Draymond. Then you're gonna be on the media all over again. Then he has to go on your podcast after the show, talk about how you got thrown out. Come on, man. I hope they don't stay together. I really don't. The only person I see staying is Klay Thompson. But at the same time, if Klay Thompson instead of Kyrie Irving wants to get 110 mil from the Lakers,
Oh,
Hell no.
I won't.
I-
I won't say no. You know what I'm saying? I
I
won't say
think
no.
I don't know. I think the Splash Bros stay. I don't. I think Draymond is out of there. If it ain't till the Lakers, then I can. feel like maybe like Miami or something
Don't
fit
for,
well for him.
don't forget though, chat and boys. Don't forget last year or the it wasn't last year. No, it was last year. It was last offseason. Clay was kind of wanting to get in a contract extension then, and then they thought he was going to go to the Lakers because the Lakers were very interested in him a couple off seasons ago. I think it may have not been last year, may have been 2 years ago. But the Lakers were very interested in him. They were willing to give him a lot of fucking money. They just didn't have the chance to. He just didn't resign, or he resigned with the Warriors for 2 million. So I could see
Mm.
LA being like, "Hey, like we talked last time, and you kind of fucked us over, dog. Let's fix that relationship real quick. Let's have a conversation. Maybe we'll give you an extra 40 million on top of what we owed you last time." So who
Jesus.
knows? Who knows? Who knows? I'm okay with Kyrie or Clay, but if personally for me, I want Kyrie Irving to be signed because we have seen what Kyrie Irving can do with LeBron James on a basketball court, and it is chef's kiss. Chef's kiss.
You gotta
Oh my
stop living in
god.
the past, my guy.
I know. I know. I
I got
know
a
it.
hot take too.
What's up?
All right, so I don't know what team, but I think Dylan Brooks gets re-signed somewhere.
I say he goes. It's gonna be the Wizards. It's gonna be the Wizards. It's gonna be
The
the Wizards.
Wizards? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's gonna be a team that they ain't really winning. Kristaps Porzingis is a free agent this year. That team ain't getting any better. There's a chance that fucking you know Bradley Beal's like, hey, I don't want to play here anymore. Thanks for the contract extension. Ha 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 ha. That was one good year. Now I don't want to be here anymore. So
My
who knows?
boy, real deal Beal. Like, it's. I don't know. I don't think. I feel like he want to win, low key.
He should he should
I
just
can't blame
he should have just came to the Lakers.
him.
You want to fucking win? Go play with LeBron James. It's that easy.
Y'all ain't giving him that money.
We
That's
were
all.
wanting to give him that money. I'm sure if if the Washington Wizards called Rob Pelinka and were like, hey, Bradley Beal doesn't want to be here, we'll trade him to you, but you have to sign his extension. How much do you want it to be? I'm sure Rob Pelinka would be like, oh shit, wait a minute, let me get the papers real quick. But who knows, man? I think basketball offseason, this upcoming one's gonna be interesting, but it's to end it off un, understandably. Jordan Dylan Brooks brought everything on himself. You shouldn't have talked that shit to LeBron. Should have kept that. Should have kept that shit to yourself. And I know LeBron didn't drop 40 on you, but they beat y'all by 40 in the last game, so it's okay.
That's just.
I can't respect you unless you drop 40 on me. Come on, man. That shit's ridiculous. But now we're gonna end the stream, boys, and end the podcast. I appreciate you guys coming on here. What are you saying time out for?
I got one more. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So I saw today that Stephen A. Smith said that if Golden State beats LA, it's time to kind of sweep LeBron and give the crown to Curry.
No.
I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on that, because
Round for what? Shooting? He can have that.
on a Mount Rushmore, like a top 5
yeah,
player
that's
all
what
time.
it was. It was Mount Rushmore.
I'm not.
Wait, so who's the other players then?
Well, he's saying you would kick LeBron off Mount Rushmore and put Curry on there, right? Is that what you're saying?
Oh no.
I think that's what he said. Yeah.
Abso-fucking
No.
no.
No. Hell no. For
No.
shooting?
Okay.
That's
We're
about it.
all on the same agreement on it. I had forgotten that I had seen that earlier, and I wanted to see it.
I saw it, but I didn't pay too much attention to it. But like I didn't know what exactly it was talking about. But now you brought it up, like abso-fucking-lutely not. We'll never see another LeBron James ever in our lifetime. Now, we're probably never gonna see another Steph Curry. We're not gonna see somebody that can shoot like Steph Curry ever in our entire lives, ever again. I don't think. It's gonna be a long time, or we'll be like 80, and it's gonna be some crazy new player coming out of college, whatever. But
Wemby, we gotta see next season with Wemby. That's like the next
That's supposedly the next guy up.
next guy. We'll see what happens.
But
Hopefully he stays healthy.
if anybody thinks Steph Curry is ahead of LeBron James on a Mount Rushmore, you really need to get checked mentally and make sure you're okay. Because LeBron James leads the most scoring ever, and he's top 5 in almost every cumulative stat you could think of besides rebounds. He's almost up there in assists. I think almost top 5 in assists. Either he is a top 5 assist or he's close to it. So no, absolutely not. No. Now you can put Steph Curry like on a top 10 Mount Rushmore, and he's like 6 or 7. I think he. Ooh, I don't know.
Didn't mean to get you so heated. I'm
No.
sorry.
I'm trying more or less to think of if I should say this or not. Fuck it, I'm gonna say it. Steph Curry is better than Magic Johnson. It's just the unfortunate truth about it now.
Some people have been saying that. That ain't like a outrageous take.
Well, it's some people
Well,
think some people would tell you it's an outrageous take just because what.
Nah, yeah. If
But
they, yeah, some people would.
I think Steph Curry is better than Magic Johnson in my opinion, but I think Magic Johnson had more offensively in his bag when it came to passing and stuff like that. He was a better distributor of the ball than Steph Curry was, and he played better defense because Steph Curry doesn't play very little defense. But all right, now we're gonna end the podcast. I appreciate everybody coming through on the stream, man. I appreciate everybody, talking. I know that I didn't talk to the chat the whole time. I try to iterate that we don't talk to the chat too much while we're on the podcast. I did bring it up to some friends. I think I talked to you a little bit about it, Brandon, but I want to do a Saturday out of the month where we all like hop in a Discord and we watch a UFC fight. Like obviously, I'm not going to stream it on Twitch or Kick because I don't want to get in trouble. But I want to have like a Saturday where we all link up, watch the UFC main card. Those can participate in recreational and adult activities. You can participate in that. You don't have to. But I think it'd be really interesting to do that on a stream and add it to the podcast. I think it'd be a lot of fun. So I look forward to that. With that, peace, love, positive. Talk to somebody I haven't talked to in a while. Checking on your loved ones, boys. Say what's been on your mind today, and what's the most positive thing you got to say to somebody today before we end the stream.
Peace and love, and let's go Celtics.
Ooh. What you got, Brandon?
Make sure to tell your loved ones you love them. You never know when the hourglass is going to run empty, and have fun first and foremost.
And with that, we'll see y'all on the motherfucking next one, dog. See ya!
Peace.
Peace.